Friends, welcome back. A very exciting week of the Super Sodium Brothers podcast, because we are joined by the lovely Miss Jasmine.
Hello.
Round of applause.
And we've got nut milk. Hold on, I gotta get a cup for my nut milk.
Oh my god. So unprepared. Very unprofessional.
In my defense, I got a cup, and then I saw that it was empty, and then I put water in it. Because I was gonna get thirsty.
You need a receptacle. You can't just drink it from the carton, you animal.
Oh god, it's in a glass pitcher. It's like a baby formula pitcher. I don't know why I have it, but I do.
Fucking homesteading up in this bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it looks like I've churned my own nut milk.
Okay.
I didn't like that. I'm sorry.
Hey,
Could we cut that in post?
Nope.
Oh, but you get to cut your joke from post. I see how it is. Fucking dictatorship over here.
Thank God, dude.
Fucking dictatorship here.
Wasn't even funny. I was actually talking about Rust. I was actually on set of a show on Friday. It was The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. Pretty good show.
Oh, cool.
Says Che. I've never watched it, but he said it was good.
Nut milk.
That's nut
Nice.
milk. That's nut milk, baby.
And they needed an insert shot. They didn't get this. They shot this whole scene where like Queen Latifah's like talking to this guy at the bar. I don't even know if I don't think I signed an NDA. It's not really spoilery. She's like talking to this guy at the bar, and he wanted to like show her a gun. He wasn't like threatening her. He just wanted to show her.
Oh, God.
And he pulls out the gun, and she's like, "Whoa!" and like disarms him real quick with some super cool like CQC. And they didn't get an insert shot of him pulling the gun out of his pocket.
Did you get to pull the gun on Queen Latifah?
No,
Oh.
I got to wear his clothes and pull the gun on Queen Latifah's photo double, who was absolutely lovely. The whole crew was great.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's cool.
But they handed me a real Smith & Wesson 357,
Tight.
Damn.
which I don't know if I've ever held
They're fucking heavy.
a real handgun before.
They're heavy.
Yeah, it was way heavier than I expected.
Revolvers are very heavy.
Mm-hmm. And there's supposed to be 4 bullets in the chamber, and the armorer on set went through, and they were all dummy rounds, meaning it's just like a bullet casing, and there's a bead inside, so you could shake it and hear that, yes, this is a dummy round. This is an actual bullet.
Cool.
And
Okay.
she went through all 4 bullets and would hold them up to my ear and shake them, and she did that with the director, the assistant director, the cameraman, anybody who was going to be remotely close or involved with the scene got all 4 bullets confirmed dummy.
Do you know
And
if
that
that's
was
like
announced on set?
is that like a fairly standard practice, or do you think that's more people being more careful since the whole incident with Russ?
I think it's people being more careful. Usually, the armor says, we've got dummy rounds on set, and the AD goes, cold weapon, dummy rounds on set, no shots will be fired, or whatever. But to go around and make sure that every bullet was confirmed with every single person, that was something new.
Okay.
As far as I know, and I've been working on set for about 7-8 years, but I had never seen that. Or
That's
maybe
good.
it was because I've been on set with a lot of rubber guns, or guns that are completely empty. Maybe because this was an actual like a real gun.
Yeah.
That they wanted to double check. But yeah, and I appreciated that. And I was not gonna say a word about Rust. I just found it very disrespectful. And someone else on set was like, "Don't want another Alec Baldwin
Are
situation."
you
I was like,
fucking serious?
Jesus.
No.
Like it was
Brother.
like we're all thinking it and nobody had to say it.
Oh
right?
my lord.
That poor fucking guy is like a few blocks uptown, just like having the worst month of his life.
Well, he
Worst
officially
year of his
got
life.
charged, didn't he, with manslaughter? So is he like
Yeah.
going to prison? Like, what's going on there? Is he just
I don't think I doubt he'll
privileged
actually
enough.
go to jail for it.
okay?
Well, like, I also don't know if I believe that he should go to jail for it.
Oh, I don't think he should. Like, that is the armor's job to be. I don't know. I don't know shit about dick when it comes to movies. But I'm assuming that if there's a safety person on set and they don't do the actual safetying of something that is very dangerous when it's real, and it's I don't know. It's he shouldn't, like, I don't know if I agree with the whole manslaughter thing. I don't know. I'll just shut
Well,
up
the
about it,
manslaughter, it's more of like a technicality thing, because like all that means is you were responsible for somebody's death and it was on accident. Like there was no intent for you to kill them. So like it's kind of like a technicality thing. Like yes, he was the one that pulled the trigger that resulted in the loss of life, but like that obviously was not his intention at all. Like it was completely an accident, and which is why it falls under manslaughter. So it's more of like a technicality thing, and like I know there's some point or some bit of like a point to like he's the producer, I guess. So like he is the boss, and he was responsible for the armor, and like he is at the end of the day responsible for his crew. So like I get that too, but like that was a very specific job that fell under the armorer that he hired, and so like I feel like the armorer should have been the one to get the brunt of the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, you hire this person because you think they're responsible, they're experienced. I'm sure there's got to be like a props department union that she's a part of. I mean, look, I don't wish anybody any ill will. Like, this is a horrible fucking situation for everyone involved. But for her to hand him a gun and say, "Yep, cold rounds," or there's blanks in there, cold gun, blank rounds on set, whatever. And for it to be live fucking rounds, like that's a colossal fuck up.
I'm
I think that's on her, Had he loaded the gun himself, it would be a completely different story.
I'm really curious to figure out, because like I'm just assuming they're not walking up to whatever gun store is on the block and being like, "Give me a gun." Like these are movie props. So what does a live round have any business have being in a real or in a gun for this? So how did
they movies will use like live rounds from time to time. Obviously the protocols are different to an extent, like when you're dealing with fake rounds and real rounds, but I think part of the problem was they were working with both. So like they had dummy rounds and they had live rounds, and so obviously you're supposed to take very, very, very extra care to make sure that those never get mixed. And I don't know if that might have been what happened, but they did confirm that they were using both dummy rounds and live rounds, but the live rounds ended up either with the dummy rounds, or they thought the live rounds were dummy rounds, or like whatever. But there was obviously some negligence involved that they weren't able to keep track of what was what and where that ended up eventually.
That makes sense. All right.
So like
just an unfortunate situation, just negligence leading to loss of life.
Yeah, and then there's that age old quote is it was like regulations are written in blood or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like rules are put in place when something bad happens.
Yeah. And
so like this was something bad that happened that will result in new regulations for sure.
Absolutely.
Which sounds like what Brandon saw on set.
Yeah. And that's interesting to see. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah. It's good to see that, honestly. It's good that they're really taking that like extra seriously. Do we know if that movie's actually still going to like continue production, or are they just
they said they were going to continue production and then charges were filed, so I do not know.
Like I wonder how that works. Like do they just scrap the project, or
what's it's so morbid but probably true. I'm sure Netflix assumed that like once the dust settled, they'd continue production cuz so many people would watch it just because of what had happened on set,
Yeah.
That's true.
You'd attract a much greater audience than people who just like fucking cowboy movies or westerns, whatever genre it is.
Well, that's why like serial killer shows, like what's that, Monster with Evan Peters, or even just the true crime shows, they're so popular because people are just so morbidly interested in these cruel, awful things that happen. So like sitting here even thinking like, oh yeah, I might even watch it just to see if I can figure out what scene they were trying to shoot, like as awful as it sounds, but like it's
probably the truth. It's probably the truth.
But I think like also like a more like what's the word I'm looking for, like a more reasonable thing as well is like movies require a lot of people to create, and so that's a lot of time and money and effort that's being put into something. And so do you scrap the whole thing because of what happened and thus kind of wasting, I know it's not like the priority, but like that's a lot of time and effort that's now being not utilized and just kind of I hate to use the word wasted because someone lost their life and that's obviously more important. But like, there's a lot of like time and effort and, stuff that goes on. So it's like, I feel like it's a hard decision to make. Like, do they, like, I don't know. Like, I don't.
I think a really good example maybe to compare that to, like, when it comes to this decision is that movie they canceled, Batgirl, I think, whatever that movie was.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Like, they full canceled it. They filmed the entire thing, and then they were just like, nope, this is going to be devastating to the to the company. We're not going to make any money off of this.
Yeah, excuse me, DC. This is going to be devastating. Have you seen the garbage you've been shoveling into theaters for the last 8 years?
What your actors are doing?
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no,
yeah,
no,
it was a $90 million movie.
But I think you guys have a good point about, like, there's just this morbid curiosity that people would have that I think that, like, if they were to continue production and, like, just fully edit it out and release it, like, people would actually watch it. And, of course, there's going to be people who will boycott it, but like, at the same time, I think there's more people that will be curious than there are people who will not be. So,
Yeah.
whereas, like, if you put out another bad DC movie, like, that's just, like, more slop to the pile that people are not going to consume.
Unless it was horrible, unless it was like Morbius levels of just irredeemable, then I can understand it. But the whole conspiracy, I don't even know if this is a conspiracy or if it's confirmed, but that Warner Brothers was planning on taking a big tax write-off. That this movie was a bust or unreleasable, and then they could potentially recoup losses rather than producing the movie Batgirl.
Oh.
Because they would have had to spend tens of millions of dollars at least to market it.
Yeah.
But, like, wasn't that, like, their fault? Like, wasn't it because, like, they treated her like fucking dog shit? Am I remembering that correctly? We're talking like Ruby Rose Batgirl, right?
No, isn't the one I'm talking about? I don't remember the name. The lead. It was a black lead, wasn't it? Or is this the same movie?
It was a movie. Well, wasn't there a Batgirl show?
That might be what
there's
I'm
so
thinking
much.
of,
Wasn't the movie?
I think Ruby Rose did the
there's
show,
so much DC crap.
and then there was a movie that was fully filmed, fully went through post, and then they were like, "We're not releasing this." I think that's where the tax thing comes from, because I've heard that one too. But the Ruby Rose thing, I think, is separate because she was supposed to play Batgirl.
Leslie Grace.
I'm sorry. This Leslie Grace was the actress playing Batgirl in this.
So they just decided it was that bad. They're just like, we can't release this.
Yep.
Well, might have been a mix. Brendan Fraser and Michael Keaton were in it. Michael Keaton's Batman. Brendan Fraser played Lieutenant Gordon. How bad could it have been? J.K. Simmons. Oh, no. J.K. Simmons played James Gordon. I don't know who Brendan Fraser was.
As Firefly.
Okay.
He's a Batman villain.
You fucking nerd.
He's a pyromaniac. Also, I didn't want to interrupt the flow of conversation, but I tried that pistachio milk.
Wait, so he was the villain?
Yeah, Firefly.
Ah, come on.
Yeah, that would have been tight.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
We have to see it. They have to release this. Maybe that's part of the plan. They're like, oh, this movie sucks, and everyone's
that's
like,
the marketing.
We want to see it anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow, that's like free marketing.
It is.
Literally.
All you have to do is put out like a Twitter post and not release the movie.
The budget wasn't even. The budget wasn't even that much. It was $90 million.
Was
that
this
can make
gonna
up
be like
$90
HBO
million.
Max?
Yeah, well, but like when you're comparing it to like fucking like what was
Avatar.
Justice League's or that.
Avatar being like a $3 billion movie where 1 second is worth $100,000.
Yeah, Justice League's budget was $300 million.
Oh my god!
Holy fuck!
So like they spent $90 million on. Yeah, they can make up. They can make up. They can make that up, right? Come on, not Zack Snyder. Jesus, I'm looking at Justice League stuff. Come on, James Gunn, release that shit.
Let's see. I don't know. It seems like James Gunn's just trimming a lot of the fat.
Yeah, apparently
we're still getting Jason Momoa though.
Wipe it clean.
We're still getting. I'm not even a DC fan. I don't even.
I am, which is what makes this so
I hate
sad.
being so invested in all this.
I feel like I say this like bi-weekly, but like we really need to watch the Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
you
one
need
of-
to watch?
one of their best.
Peacemaker, the
Oh,
HBO.
yeah.
Oh my god,
Yes.
that was unreal, and I'm actually really surprised that Rob, you specifically have not watched the show, but just either of you in general. It was fantastic. It's like it's a TV show. Like it felt like I was watching TV and not just like a long form movie, but it was just really, really well done. And then I think the I don't know if he's playing the villain in the upcoming Guardians movie, but he's in the new Guardians movie. What's his name? Probably can't pronounce it.
Will Poulter?
No, not Will Poulter. His name's Chukwudi Iwuji. I definitely did not pronounce that correctly, but he's in. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He was in John Wick Chapter 2.
How do you spell it?
Chuck, Chukwudi, and then last name Iwuji.
I feel like you got fairly close. Chukwudi Iwuji, maybe? That's what I would say. Iwuji?
Yeah, so he was in Peacemaker as one of the supporting characters. And then now he's going to be in Guardians Volume 3. And I think he might be the antagonist. I don't know enough about it, so... But,
Okay, yeah, I think I was getting that from the trailer. He seemed pretty villainous.
yeah.
He looks like he could play a good villain.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he looks like he would have like a really good like, you know, like he looks like friendly but not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he could go
I feel
either
like
way.
he'd give a good mean mug. You know.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I loved the first two Guardians movie, and the first one came out at just such like a vulnerable time in my life, and I spent so much time listening to that soundtrack in a really like. In moments where I was like on the subway, like early in the morning, just like wanting to die, like that soundtrack definitely like brought a little like levity to my life.
Yeah,
It's a really good soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack. After Star-Lord, aka Chris Pratt, like fucks up everything in Infinity War, like his character fucks it up. I really can't look at the Guardians the same way. I don't know. It feels.
Yeah, I really didn't like that part of the plot.
It was a little dumb.
Like all you had to do was
what
fucking.
he does again? It's been a while
He
since
finds out.
They all like hold Thanos down, and they get Mantis on top of him, and she puts him in like this weird like comatose state, and they're gonna just pull the Infinity Gauntlet off and just peace out. And he's like, "Where's Gamora?" And then he starts punching him with his gun.
Yeah.
It's like all you had to do is keep it together for like 6.5 seconds.
I also hate that part
You
because
couldn't.
why didn't Tony Stark just like hand blast him away just for like a second? You know, just
like
shut
what
up.
he does to Falcon when Vision got hit by the chest beam. He's like, "Fuck off," and just like, "Ugh." You know,
when
give him a
Rhodey's
little,
like
yeah.
paralyzed on the ground. Sam Wilson's like, "Sorry, bro." He's like, "Boom."
Yeah, hits him with a little boing.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Where was that? That was a great Iron Man sound.
Thanks, dude.
I'm excited for Guardians 3. I was saying this to Jazz the other day. I'm gonna see Ant-Man. I'm gonna see Guardians. I think I've got one foot out the door with superhero stuff. I think I'm almost over it.
That's crazy
Like
considering your hot toy collection.
I do love Iron Man and Hulk's pretty cool, but I don't know, man. Just after Endgame, spoiler alert, after Tony Stark died, I think I'm just good. I'd like to see where it goes. Like I'll check in with the movies, but I don't know if I can.
Isn't
watch
it being
every
like
single
heavily
thing.
alluded that like he's coming back? Like both
Really?
him and Chris
I
Evans.
can't imagine that. No way. Really?
I don't know if
After
it's
all
like just
that?
wild theory crafting or like if he actually is coming back.
I mean, they've opened the door with spoiler alert, anything that happened in Loki, and Doctor Strange. Like they could, but it would cheapen Endgame. Like as much as I did not want either of these two characters to leave because they were like they must have scoliosis now because they carried Marvel up until Endgame. But now it's like it's different. I really like the TV shows though. Like the movies I could definitely do without. But the shows, I actually like really fell in love with them. Even Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was something about the I know it's not the best one, and I'm not saying it's the best one at all, but there was like, you guys know me. I love a good story about social injustice or something, and overcoming social injustice, and like that's ultimately what that show is about, is like what
I feel like you
happens
liked it. You liked it for the reasons that I didn't hate it.
Fair. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the reason I hate it, you don't give a shit about. I think that's what it is.
I think it's just
the human portion.
I just thought it was
over
really
here like
interesting...
Winter Soldier can't fight anymore, and you're like, I don't fucking care about that part. And I'm like, yeah, but it sucks.
Like, no, I really like, honestly, the action part of superhero movies, as dumb as it sounds, is like not what I'm there for. Like, I love the world building and the like the settings and the characters and whatnot.
I'm just here for the story.
I'm just here for the story, and I think Falcon and Winter Soldier actually really nailed that. Again, if you know me and that I love, stories about overcoming social injustice, and this is a really, really interesting thought experiment on what happens to an entire population of people that don't leave the planet, and what happens to them when the people that left do come back. Like what happens then? And I think it absolutely nailed what would happen, that these people, they didn't leave. So, nothing happened to them. So they get pushed to the side for the people that did leave, who are the victims. But I think everyone is a victim in this. Honestly, I could go on about this forever. That said, it is not my favorite Marvel show that came out, in between like Endgame and like the movies that have been coming out in the last year or so.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like the best part of Falcon and Winter Soldier was like the very end when Sam is like gives that speech to like the politicians about like why all of this happened.
Right.
And it's like he's not like necessarily like condemning what was her name, like Carly and like her squad. Like it wasn't
Carly
like
and
necessarily
the Flag Smashers.
Yeah. Like he wasn't necessarily condemning them. Like he wasn't condoning it obviously, but he was like you guys need to like really like take a step back and look at like why all this happened. Mm-hmm. And like the politicians were like, oh, like we're gonna do this, that, and that, and he goes, you're missing the whole point again. Like this, and he gives a really good like eloquent kind of like monologue speech about like what it means for him as like a black man to be like nationally recognized as Captain America, and like the implications of that, and then everything that happened in the show, why that happened, and like how to stop it, and it was a really good, like they gave him like a nice long like speech to kind of get all that out, and I feel like that was like the best part of the whole show, in my opinion.
Yeah, like again, movie's not like the best thing, or sorry, the show's not the best thing I've ever seen. In like there's obviously better shows, but I think it really did nail like that part of it. Is just talking about like it became like, to me, a really good allegory for like what's happening in the world today when it comes to social injustices, and it did it in a vehicle that people who might not otherwise be exposed to those kind of things kind of get it into their brain that these things are happening. And even though this is a fictional universe, these are fictional characters and situations, that they're applying real world things. So that's what I appreciate about it. But overall, as a superhero, super villain kind of show, not my favorite. I much preferred other shows. I'm also really sorry if you can hear my dog barking. So
it's okay.
It's okay. We're just never gonna invite you back to the podcast.
It's fine, but yeah, we're never doing this again.
Okay,
it's all good. What is your favorite Marvel TV show?
Mine?
Yeah.
Man, okay, which ones were there? So there was Loki, there was WandaVision, that one. I feel like there was others as well.
It was Falcon Winter Soldier, and then I think there was one more.
Jeremy Renner Takes Manhattan.
Ooh, Hot Guy, yeah.
Oh, right. Hot Guy?
Yeah, Marvel's Hot Guy.
Yeah, Marvel's.
Like Jeremy Renner isn't like objectively hot, but there's something about just his attitude and like I don't know, he's just like general swagger. Like he's got swagger without having to try, you know?
Yeah.
He's like
And I think
attainably hot. Like he's like a cute pug, you know? You're not conventionally attractive, but like
That's
so
an
that's his
oxymoron.
face.
Cute.
I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
He's pretty hot. I'll give it to him.
To get back to your
What else? We
question,
had Moon Knight, Miss
Moon Knight,
Marvel,
right,
She-Hulk.
Moon Knight, dude, the ending of Moon Knight, once the gods turned into giant monsters and started fist fighting in Cairo, I was completely done. Like I handed in my
Really?
resignation. After that, I don't know if I could watch another Marvel show. I'll be completely honest.
Really?
As soon as they started, they're these all-powerful ancient gods, each representing like a different aspect of life itself. And they grow to Godzilla size and they just start punching each other. It was just so stupid. It was so like mindless and Marvel, and I just couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't do it. These ancient creature gods and all they could do is basic fucking like UFC moves. It was They just started boxing.
yeah,
It was so silly.
it definitely.
I think it's a fair criticism, especially because like in the comics, like when gods fight, there's like entire universes are like caught in the crossfire. Like universes are being wiped out as like gods are fighting. It's like I guess I can understand that, but like at the same time, like I don't know, like what else would they do? Like we just now got the multiverse. So like
I don't know. She's a reptile. I don't know. Spit some poison fire. I call down a giant flock of birds.
In Moonlight's defense, I will say, okay, so it's not my favorite show. I will say, and we can maybe discuss it after I talk about it, but I think my favorite show was probably WandaVision because there's not many shows that elicited such an emotional reaction for me, and I was a mess after that. Like, The Last of Us episode 3 levels of mess, kind of. Like, It was, but in defense of Moonlight, I will give it two things. After watching it, Will's actually got, my partner has got a pretty hefty collection of comics and graphic novels, and he has, I think, like the most recent iteration of Moonlight. Don't know who the author is.
Moon Knight.
Sorry, Moonlight. I'm
thinking
thinking
of
of
the movie
critically
with Mahershala
acclaimed
Ali.
Moonlight. Yeah.
Which is also
Oscar
very good.
award-winning
Yes.
cinema masterpiece.
He's got all the comic books from Moon.
But speaking of social, just kidding. But Moon Knight, it actually, reading the comics, it does do it justice. The head spin of going between the different realms, which for that show doesn't really start until I think like episode 3 or 4, when he, I guess, I don't know, air quote, dies in Egypt. Spoiler alert,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's right.
But reading the comics, like that is what's happening. Like it is going between these realms, and there is this person who, like, he does have mental health issues. He does have multiple personality disorders, and I think the show itself in that did justice. The situation, though, it was hard for me to buy into.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed like the insight into like Stephen, what was it, Stephen Grant and the other personality, like the insight into that and how that relationship works and the dysfunctionality and the trauma where it comes from. Like I really enjoyed that. I respected what they did there, especially with this flashback. But when it came to the Marvel stuff, I really could not get into it. There were some cool sequences with Moon Knight for sure.
Yeah.
Just from a nerd's perspective. But as soon as regular people start becoming superhuman, with a snap of their fingers,
It would be a good
really get taken out
standalone
of it.
for sure. Like I would buy into it if it was a standalone and it became like a better storytelling for, I don't know, just talking about like Egyptian gods, because I feel like in popular media it's given all to like Roman and Greek gods. Like you don't really hear about other ancient societies or just societies in general and their gods. but also just mental health issues, and particularly mental health issues that are so, I guess for lack of a better word, taboo. Like no one's really talking about multiple personality disorders, and I can't say whether or not this is an accurate description of how someone who lives with these kind of disorders feels.
Of like DID.
Yeah. But I think it sheds some light on that this is a real issue.
That's one thing that I really do appreciate with the shows. Like, I feel like we're probably not really going to get this level of like attention in the movies, but like, you know, like with WandaVision, like, you know, you have this central theme of just like the most gut-wrenchingly like crippling like grief and depression. That's a very human like emotion to have to go through, and like they really, you know, kind of shine a light on that and like give that its place in humanity because it is so prevalent. And then with like Falcon and Winter Soldier, you've got, you know, like elements of like PTSD, with Bucky's like, you know, him grappling with like he recognized that it wasn't his fault, like he was being mind controlled like by Hydra and whatnot, but it's like you know, he still has to grapple with like what he did, and so like he's got, you know, a lot of this like guilt and like PTSD involved with that. Hawkeye, you have like him dealing with like the physical toll that, you know, fighting has on him
and his family life,
the mental impact. Yeah, like the mental impact that has like with him and his family. You know, you got the whole DID with Stephen Grant and Moon Knight. So it's just like they give a lot of attention to that, which I really respect. And it would be cool to see that in the movies, but I don't necessarily know if that's something that we're really going to get to like that level. But even if the shows suck, like I kind of think Falcon and Winter Soldier did. Like it still had a lot of like.
There's definitely worse shows I've seen, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "It's the best show. It's the best show." Like I think you guys have heard where I love shows in particular, and that sits very much.
Yeah, there's plenty reason to like it. Like I don't want to like write it off as a complete loss. I was super disappointed in the action-y side of things, which really tainted my appreciation of it. But I do recognize that there are some really good stuff to come out of that. Like that, like I was saying, that speech at the end was chef's kiss. The way they treated the dynamic between the two was really good.
Yeah, and in particular,
I would.
Oh, sorry.
No, Jess, you go ahead.
All I was gonna say is, and I'm excited for Loki season 2. I think that's coming out soon. Actually, I've been a huge fan of Tom Hiddleston for a really long time. I actually used to have a Tumblr just dedicated to him, and I would just repost Tom Hiddleston things all the time. So just the fact that he's like,
you're a hashtag Tom Hiddlestan.
Yeah, exactly.
Your Tumblr blog. Yeah.
It started with him, and then I think it veered off into Cillian Murphy, who is not a part of Marvel. But
not yet.
Not yet. I'm sure they will.
He was Scarecrow in Batman.
True.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I was talking about this with Will the other day, my obsession with Cillian Murphy, because Oppenheimer is actually coming out later.
Oh fuck yes.
Yeah. And God, it makes my heart so happy to see him get the recognition he deserves, because I would say it's been about 15 years that I've been a huge fan of his. And if you do the math of that on my age, and that, like, I've been a fan of his since I was like in my like preteens, purely because he's hot. I think he's hot. But now it's a genuine appreciation of the fact that he is a master of his craft. And up until like, I feel like in the last like, I want to say like 5-ish years, he hasn't like gotten the recognition he deserves. So it started with actually Inception. And then I retroactively went back and watched Batman Begins and, rewatched his
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later is incredible. But I also like deep dived a lot of his indie movies and just like weird ones. Like one that came up between Will and I was Red Eye. That one about where he's like a plane hijacker. Or
I haven't seen that in so long. Was it good?
Oh, it's so good.
If it was good.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but again, I have this like because I had this superhuman obsession with him. I do,
This otherworldly obsession.
this otherworldly obsession with him. I do remember that movie quite well, and I was watching other things that he did, like going back. So he's from Ireland, and doing like watching some of his like deep Irish movies. Like one was called Disco Pigs. Couldn't tell you what that one was about though.
Oh, I think I could take a stab at it.
Yeah, it's about pigs who dance in the 70s.
Right.
Or 60s.
That's the only thing I could
Oh.
logically assume it would be
Yeah.
about.
I don't think that's what it's about.
It might be.
It might be.
It's a Pixar movie.
It might be. It's a big
It's a toss.
It's a period piece set in the 70s.
Yeah, but he's actually like sat across a lot of really big actors and actresses, and these movies just never really got recognition. So to see him now, what's the name of that show he's in right now? Man, I should know this. Like, and I haven't watched
Peaky
it, which is the
Blinders?
weird thing. Yeah, Peaky Blinders. I haven't even watched Peaky Blinders. Like some Killing Murphy.
Is
fan.
that still going on?
It is.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's in,
I've
like,
heard
its
good
last
things about
one.
it, but I haven't started it.
I think it's winding down. I think it's either in its last season or it's got like one more season to go. Not too sure. So for someone who's supposedly a huge Cillian Murphy stan, I'm like lagging quite behind on that one. But I don't know why I brought him up in the first place, but he's fantastic.
Something about the otherworldly obsession, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. And I'm really excited for Oppenheimer later this year, even though I'm not necessarily like, oh my god, like nuclear bombs. What's the like? No, it'll be about like the weirdly star-studded cast that it got. Like
Oh
every
my
other
God, it's
day.
so stacked. Well, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. My man,
Yeah.
my man stacks his movies.
But don't you remember like when they were like starting the filming and like the casting of this? It was like every other day it was like so and so is an Oppenheimer across Cillian Murphy, and so, and it became like a list of like 20 names, and then a new name was coming out every day. Like
Yeah, like this is insane. So we got Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Jack Quaid, Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Emily Blunt, our boy Josh Peck,
Oh, right.
Josh Hartnett, one of the Skarsgårds, Gustav,
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh,
Oh my god, right.
Rob Morgan. We got Dane DeHaan, Gary Oldman, Ben Affleck. I don't know, I guess if they don't have a cast name, I guess are they just part of like production? I guess because Ben Affleck
No,
and
they're
Rami
in the
Malek don't have.
cast. I guess their characters haven't been released. Like, yeah, looking here, there's
Okay.
quite a few that haven't received. Did you say Emily
Yeah.
Blunt too? Matt Damon.
Yeah,
Damn,
Emily Blunt.
like,
She plays what's his name's Oppenheimer's wife.
the
Kitty?
titular movies. The titular
Casey
character.
Casey Affleck?
Yeah,
Alex Wolff. You remember
I
him
thought
from
that
Hereditary?
fucking guy.
Is that the one
Alex
that's from
Wolff.
Hereditary? I think so. Yeah, it is.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. He plays the older brother.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, like there's just so many fucking people in this movie.
It's a huge cast.
This isn't necessarily movie related, but when I was driving up to Dallas for my work trip the other week, I was listening to a podcast episode on the Manhattan Project, and there was a spy that was spying, as spies do.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
on the development,
Like that balloon over the United States?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, no.
fucking-
That wasn't a spy
That was a
balloon. That was just a
civilian.
spy.
It was a civilian aerospace project. Nothing to be concerned about.
It was for meteorology. Just
Yeah.
happened to
We just want to study
drift
the,
over from
It's a high school
fucking
project gone
Shanghai.
wrong.
Yeah, it's high. Exactly.
Oh,
but
weird.
they're-
Oh, this is where you keep the nuclear silos? Well, that's a crazy coincidence.
What a coincidence! But
All right,
they're-
cool. We're gonna shoot this down. You better not.
How dare
Better not
you?
shoot-
It's like
Oh my
okay,
God.
relax. But they were talking about how there was a Russian spy that was like spying on the development of the nuclear bomb, and we only found out like 5 years after we dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Mhm.
And the only verifiable like information that we had about secrets being like leaked was only to Russia, not to Japan, not to Germany. Luckily enough.
Interesting.
But it's like, oh shit. And yeah, so like there was a Russian spy like leaking all of our not all, but a lot of the developmental process to Russia, which is thought to be a big like head start to their production of nuclear weapons.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it was a really interesting episode. It was really cool. But yeah, long story
Honestly,
short,
I think
Oppenheimer's gonna be dope.
I think it's my most anticipated movie for 2023. That and Transformers Beast Wars,
damn
whatever
you.
the fuck it's called. Transformers Rise of the Beast. Oh my god. I was watching the trailer earlier and I did not know this about my girlfriend. We've been together for 6 years and she walked in and she was like, I fucking love Transformers. And I was like,
Really?
"Are you serious?" She was like, I like Bumblebee is my boy. Like I
She grabs you by the shoulders. I fucking love them.
And I was like, well, 1 and 3 were good. 2 had some good parts, but it got really corny. She's like, you're not watching Transformers for the plot. I was like, well,
Yeah, you're
that's
going
true.
for the big robot fights.
It was a little bit of corn overload. Man, the trailer was... it's so hilarious.
Pete
It's
Davidson.
like slow motion, like dun dun dun. Like you could picture it. And they're playing Biggie's If You Don't Know, Now You Know. And there's like Transformers like outrunning the cops. And they're like, if you don't know, now you know. Like how do people not know about Transformers in this world? There's been like 5 extinction level events where
That's a really
Transformers
good
are
point.
duking it out in fucking Times Square. Like every 6 months, there's a huge like fight either on like the LA like Hollywood Boulevard or fucking Times Square. If you don't, literally everyone knows about Transformers.
It's a dangerous place to live in. Times
True.
Square.
It's like living in
apparently.
Gotham. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's
Get
the
out of
worst
there.
place in the world.
Like, what is your rent? $8 a month because of how absolutely fucked that city is? Is that why? Is that why you're still here?
It's because Batman lives
The
there.
Joker is blowing up hospitals and schools every other week. You got to run out of
Okay.
hospitals and schools at some point. Right?
All of your tax dollars are going to rebuilding the roads. and the-
Literally, yeah. Like, what is your income tax? 88%, and it's spent on
You
rebuilding
can't
the
even
city.
drive a car because at every other intersection is 12 goons hanging out in front of like a trash can fire.
It looks like fucking, what is it, Shibuya Crossing in Japan, you know? You got like 7,800 million trillion people trying to cross. And it's just like all these goons in the street. You got Brendan Fraser as a Firefly fucking blowing up cars. It's like, you can't go anywhere. It's
You got the
unbelievable.
Riddler wearing a chroma key onesie, driving a hijacked like money truck down the street.
He's got like a DUI checkpoint where he asks you a riddle, and if you don't answer it right, he shoots you in the face.
He shoots you in the
Right
face.
in the fucking
Oh my
face.
God. You got Batman.
He's supposed to be fun.
You got Batman T-boning you like every other day, just trying to fucking go to work.
Try to keep the city to intact.
And that's why the
Commissioner
boys
Gordon is-
exist, because
I don't
that's
even
what
know.
would happen.
Literally.
Um,
Also, I'm just kind of looking at this this cast of Oppenheimer still. Dude, Jack Quaid is gonna play Richard Feynman. That's so good. I love that.
Okay.
so excited
I like
for that.
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid's dope. Gary Oldman's playing Harry S. motherfucking Truman. Ugh.
Can you?
So,
So
excited.
Richard Feynman was a theoretical physicist
He
who first worked on
was.
the path integral formula of quantum mechanics, of course.
Mhm.
Theory of quantum electrodynamics.
those are words I
And then we
understand.
got-
Yeah. Light
don't know.
light reading, bathroom reading.
Yeah. Just you can gloss over it super quick. There's I don't know who this Danny D. Ferrari. It's a very Italian name.
I thought you were
and
about to say
rightfully
Danny
so.
DeVito. Like, you haven't heard of Danny
Danny-
DeVito?
Yeah, Danny DeVito is playing
DeVito?
physicist Enrico Fermi. Yeah, that's him.
I would love to see Danny DeVito in like a small supporting dramatic role.
I'm sure
He's done
has.
drama
That would
stuff
be
before,
fucking
right?
great.
He just
But
kills
when
it
was the
in
last
It's Always
time?
Sunny, so he just
He
stays where he
really-
belongs.
He really carries that show.
He is Frank Reynolds.
He just stays in his
They
lane.
couldn't do that
and,
show without him.
He kills it every time.
The last one I can think of, I know he has to have done drama since then, but do you remember there's a Jet Li movie where he's like he's kept as like a pet basically to like fight, like he's like a fighting dog essentially, and Danny DeVito is his like owner.
Is it the one?
Yes, that one. That's what I was thinking. I didn't know if that was right though. But yeah, the one with Jet Li.
I'll take Jet Li for 600.
Yeah. Damn, Jet Li movies were tight. Remember Jet Li?
2001, dude. I remember
Yeah.
renting this from Blockbuster. This movie was dope.
It was so good. Fucking multiverse. Him fighting like other versions of himself.
What is
It's
that?
so
The
cool.
only thing I remember, literally the only scene I remember about this movie is he's gonna get executed, and his girlfriend sneaks into the execution with a mouse in her boot, and there's a bomb strapped to the mouse. And during the
Yeah.
execution, she like lets the mouse out, and he like stops the execution. That's
Yeah.
all I remember.
What movie?
It got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is an outrage.
That sounds right.
No,
that
fuck you.
sounds
Fuck you.
right
This is
on
an
the money.
outrage. Outrage.
Listen to the scene I just described you. And
All right.
tell me
All right, fine,
13 is not
motherfucker.
appropriate.
Judge Dredd? That bitch has got 22%.
That's,
Yeah, how do you feel about
a
that?
crime. That's a crime.
Oh,
against
that's a
humanity.
crime. Right, right.
What a
okay.
fantastic movie.
Oh,
wait,
right.
the 2013 one in 3D?
No, this is the old school one. The old one.
Oh yeah, with
95
Rob
Judge
Schneider and fucking Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, 22%. That's right.
Rob Schneider.
Jason Statham was in the one with Jet Li.
Carl Urban's Dredd. Okay, I'm wrong. I got a 79. All right, fair enough.
That's appropriate. Yeah, that's
Fair
fine.
enough.
It was pretty
Seven
fucking good.
Psychopaths got an 83%. Y'all seen Seven Psychopaths?
No, but I want to.
It's so
'Cause
good.
I've
I-
seen bits and pieces.
That's Martin McDonagh, right? That's the director.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, because you've told me about
What's
the
his
one
name?
scene before, but
Yeah.
also I love his movies. Like one of them is nominated for a bunch of Oscars this year. Banshees of Inisherin. Fantastic.
What is that about? Like I'm seeing it fucking everywhere.
It's about being Irish and sad.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
right,
much.
got it, okay.
It's really weird.
Craving potatoes. Yeah. The
Yeah,
usual.
yeah, exactly. But being famished because
I didn't know this was Martin McDonagh. Now I actually want to see it.
It's really-
Two lifelong friends find themselves at an impasse when one abruptly ends their relationship with alarming consequences for both of them.
I promise you have no idea where this movie is going. Like I really want you guys to watch it. It could definitely be a movie night movie. It's good. It's got quite a few nominations in like the acting categories, and just all around. It's fantastic. I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie of like 2022. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. Like I loved watching it in the theater. It's definitely got this like it's like a thriller comedy almost. It's weird. It's really weird. You don't know where it's going, but I loved it. Really, really.
That's
well
kind of
done.
McDonagh's style.
It is. Yeah. Like, have you guys seen the only other one I can think of is right now, is In Bruges. Have you seen that one? That one's a little bit older.
I'm not.
So that one is also Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. It's about right from IMDb. Guilt-stricken after a job gone wrong, hitman Ray and his partner await orders from their ruthless boss in Bruges, Belgium, the last place in the world Ray wants to be. And it's just about two hitmen who are, job goes really poorly.
Just a couple of dudes.
Just a couple of
hitting
dudes
men.
being guys in Belgium, the last place they want to be, and it's just like it's over the course of like 2 days, and it's got like an incredible cast. So not only do you got Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, you got Ray Fiennes in it as well, who shows up like at a point you don't expect to show up at all, and he kills it. And then I don't know if I'm pronouncing Ciarán Hinds. He's been in quite a few things. He was in Belfast, which was 2021. He plays Aberforth Dumbledore in the Deathly Hallows movies.
Oh yeah.
He's actually in Treason, which Rob, I know you watched. Brandon, I don't know if you watched it, but he was Sir Martin
I've not seen
Anglus.
Right.
He's
Did
fantastic.
have you finished that? Have you finished that yet? By the way.
Nah. I was watching. I was busy watching White Lotus because I don't know.
Okay, you might as well just said. When I asked you that,
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. We
I
started.
liked
watching,
it. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm assuming you're gonna hate it because I liked it, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I'm assuming I'll like it too. Like it definitely is within my alley. It's just we haven't gone back to it. Like there's no reason we haven't gone back to it. It's just that we got busy with like we were watching, like I said, White Lotus, which I don't know. It's just one of those like brain off kind of shows. You're just watching a bunch of rich people at a resort, and it's kind of like a whodunit, because it's got 2 seasons. It technically is an anthology series, but there is one character who shows up in both seasons, played by Jennifer Coolidge, for which I think she won a Golden Globe or an Emmy for.
Really? That's
yeah,
funny.
She's got a really good character.
Like
she actually fits really well in the show. So we were busy watching that because it was just like a nice brain off kind of whatever, and it's an ensemble thing, so it feels like you know those stupid like Valentine's Day movies, like New Year's Eve, or I don't know what another. It's like it's a bunch of disjointed stories that come together in the end. They're all interconnected somehow. Like this is what that show's about, and it's just a bunch of people at resorts. So we were busy watching that, but I do want to finish it. Will's been bugging me to watch.
What was that, White
Sopranos.
Lotus?
Yeah, it's HBO.
Okay.
It like quietly, like I didn't hear anything of it until the second season came out. I didn't hear anything about the first season, but it's got like fantastic first season cast. You got Jennifer Coolidge. You got the guy who played Frank in episode 3 of The Last of Us.
Like Marty
Murray Bartlett. He plays
that guy.
He plays the resort manager, and it's completely different than Frank, which is it's phenomenal. Like HBO struck gold with this guy. And you got also like Steve Zahn, and he's got an incredible shot at one point where it's like the introduction to his character, and it's just like his balls. Like that's he's got like ball cancer or something, and it's just right there. It's
his
like,
balls.
Yeah, it's like damn. Yeah.
Google, show me a picture of this guy's balls.
You can with Steve Zahn.
You can. You can do that. But dude, speaking of The Last of Us, that fucking episode 3.
Ooh.
Who
that's a
gave
good TV show.
Who gave HBO the right to absolutely eviscerate us like
that? They had
that?
the audacity to come into my home and cut onions
and
in front of my face.
Like that? In front of my face. Fucking rub that shit into our eyeballs.
Oh my God.
I was fully ready for, because I don't know if I knew. Did we know that was? I guess we did know it was Frank. I guess I didn't realize. But like when they I think we're just gonna put like a heavy spoiler warning in the description of this episode.
Yeah.
Because we spoiled enough, and I'm going to continue spoiling.
We've spoiled enough.
If you
Tony
somehow
Stark's
made it,
dead.
if you've somehow made it this far and you don't want The Last of Us spoilers, run now.
Stop here.
Yeah, stop here. Go the fuck away, and we'll see you next week. But I guess I just didn't realize, like, we knew that was Frank, but like it was like when they did the whole, like piano, and he's like, who's the girl? Like, there is no girl, like whatever. And like when they get like that kiss, I was like, oh, he's fucking playing him. And like as they go in for the kiss, he's gonna take his gun. Like he has like that leg holster for his gun. I was like, he's gonna fucking take his gun, shoot him in the gut, or like do some fuck shit. I was like, oh no, never mind. This is just a slice of life that's gonna make me want to cry. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
That scene out on the street, it's like what, 3 years later or something after that meeting. They're out on the street, and he's like, I want to fix up the house, I want to cut the lawn, paint it, fix up the shops. Like, it was just like a really good scene there where they're just having this banter where, I don't know, something about it just itched or scratched an itch in my brain, whatever. That was fantastic.
Is that the line where it was like paying attention to like details or whatever? Is like how we show love or whatever, like that.
Yeah, and then you see that throughout the whole episode, or at least when the episode is telling their story, the details, like when the house isn't dusty anymore, or there's paintings all over the place that Frank did.
Or the fucking like, strawberry garden.
The strawberry garden. It's fantastic.
I was saying, like, when we were watching it, I was like, bro, honestly, like, if I was in the fucking cordyceps apocalypse, and we're like, 5+ years into it, like if somebody walked me over to a strawberry garden they planted for me, and like I got to eat a fresh strawberry off the vine, I would cry.
Oh, you would
cry. I would legitimately break down.
Yeah.
Because one, I fuck fucking love strawberries.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much I fucking love strawberries. And then to be deprived of that in a fucking cordyceps infested hellscape for years, only to have the love of my life be like, I planted you ready to pick strawberries. Like I would fucking crumble to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've kind of got your own little slice of paradise in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're safe.
Like their lives objectively got better in that too, because remember this is literally 2003 in the US, and I think it's like within the last year that the US and I correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, because that would have been under Bush's presidency, where gay marriage was not allowed like anywhere basically.
Yeah, so their lives were like, I mean, Nick Offerman's character Bill was already kind of, I think it's pretty self-explanatory when you watch the episode that he's a recluse.
He had that shit buried.
He had that shit buried down deep, like where his fucking guns were. But
in the fucking basement.
In the basement, yeah, exactly.
He
wasn't in the closet. He was in the basement.
Yeah,
dude. When Frank is like, "Oh, I traded one of your guns for some seeds," he was like, "Which gun?" As a collector myself, I was like, if Alex ever was like, "Oh, I traded one of your Iron Men for some seeds," I'd be like, "Are you what?
Are you joking?"
Pack your
but
shit.
what if they turned out to be strawberries?
Yeah. See, that's the
during
thing.
the cordyceps apocalypse.
The fresh strawberry. It definitely takes the hit off of losing the Smith and Wesson 357. You know.
Well, he said it was a small gun, so it would have been like a little like
small gun.
Somebody pointed out on Twitter or TikTok that the gun that Joel's carrying, not the big one that he eventually like buries or like puts away in that gas station that they're at, but the little one he's got like holstered to his side, that could probably be the gun that Frank gave him from Bill's collection. I think that's like another example of like good attention to detail. Again, where the show is about showing detail. Like this episode was just a masterclass in how to do things. I don't know, just
what's also really cool to like play to that point some more is the shirt that Joel's wearing after, you know, like they get to Bill's, like they take showers and like they go to leave. Joel is wearing the shirt that I forget which, if it was Frank or Bill, but one of them.
It's the one that
like
Bill
like
gives Frank after his shower when he gets there for the first date. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and it's the one from the game too. Like that's the shirt that Joel's wearing in the game.
Yeah, and same with Ellie, that red shirt that she puts on. Mm-hmm. That's the same shirt from the game, and it's just like Jesus, like they're doing so like no other video game adaptation will never not be held to the standard that this is.
Yep,
because like this is the definitive quintessential like bar. Like the bar has been set, and if your video game adaptation, Netflix, if you're fucking listening, if your video game adaptation does not like meet that standard, I'm not fucking watching it. And if I do, I'm gonna do it out of spite, 'cause I'm a fan of whatever the fucking property is. I'm gonna shit on it the whole time.
Yeah,
because like they're literally doing it.
They did it
perfectly. Like I have zero complaints about any part. Like every episode's been 10 out of 10 so far. Like,
they've really had 3 perfect episodes. Like literally 3 bangers.
There's not a single thing that I'm just like, well, maybe like nothing.
No, nothing.
Like
they did fantastic, and they're so confident in themselves that they released the first episode for free on YouTube, just so people could. They did. Wow. I haven't seen it, but I've seen multiple.
GGs,
right? So it's fantastic marketing on like HBO's end, on anyone's end, so
that's
that you can
good because
you watch the first episode, but then you gotta go watch the rest of them. This is where it's huge. And that
like if you're a fan of the game and you watch that first episode, you're like, I'm locked in. I'm so in.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking power move.
And to go back to your point on like studios or just whoever, video adaptations, this is where you veer from the source material and make it adapt it from video games to TV. This is where it is done right, because it can go wrong in so many ways. Because in the game, like this is a whole mission where Joel needs a car. Like that's it. That's the whole purpose of Bill. And like Frank isn't even alive in the game. Like, you find his hanging body
you find
after
his,
he gets infected. So he doesn't even have, and the show doesn't confirm it. And I haven't seen any confirming tweets. I don't know what Frank has in the show. I'm going to assume it's ALS or MS or something along those, like one of those degenerative diseases.
I figured cancer, because that was probably just like the easy way. But I saw like a TikTok where somebody was saying that like their best guess was ALS.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought too. But like in the game, like he's not even like a character you can interact with. Like Bill cuts him down after reading this cutting letter from Frank, where Frank's like, I actually never fucking liked you. Like, good riddance. Have a terrible life. Bye. But this is where the studio, like, because that kind of mission that exists in a video game won't like fit well into a show where you're just looking for a car. They took something that was so like optional in the game. Like, you don't have to find that letter. You don't even have to read that letter. Like, you have to go through that cutscene where he cuts Frank down from the ceiling that he hangs himself from. But
and I actually forgot, in the video game he said, who was that? They see the corpse hanging, you know that guy? And he goes, yeah, it cuts him down, he was my partner.
Yeah, he calls him his partner.
And I completely I forgot about that wordage.
Yeah, he says it a couple times. And then I know people were like, oh, but partner can be used for anything, so it doesn't necessarily mean he's gay. So that aside, there's actually a scene later.
It could.
But
like, it also could mean that they were romantically involved. So like, it could go either way, honestly.
But I think what really nails it home is once they leave and they have that car, Ellie is sitting in the back of their truck just shooting the shit with Joel, and she pulls out this nudie mag that she nicked from
and
Bill.
It's like stuck together or something.
It's like stuck together, but it's like the way she talks about it, she's like, it's that big? And it's like that, like, porn magazines wouldn't just put a man like that. That's probably a gay porn magazine. So I think that just
if it's
like further confirmation that he probably is, if not gay, at least bisexual, or at least not. You don't have to label it, but like sexually and maybe romantically interested in men. So there's all these signs in the game that that's what could have happened, and they took what's good, like the good parts from that, and made it good for a TV show. Because watching like three goons just roast each other for an hour in a really emotional show might have actually been really out of place. As funny as it would have been, it probably would have been out of place and kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of agree. Another thing that I loved about episode 3 was you could just watch episode 3, not know anything about The Last of Us, not even watch the first 2 episodes, and it still could stand on its own. It was
absolutely,
I love, like, just the isolated story almost.
Yeah, even
and, like,
with
what
the
I
parts
keep telling,
and how it was integrated into Joel and Ellie's narrative.
Yeah, and like, because the start of the episode starts out with them grieving Tess's loss. So also spoilers for episode 2. They're grieving.
Just spoilers.
Spoilers.
We're talking spoilers. Go away.
They're grieving Tess's loss, but you don't need to have known Tess from the previous episodes to understand. Like, they're going through a loss. They are not happy with one another right now. But they got to go somewhere. Like, they're, whether or not they like it, they're stuck in this moment together, and they got to go somewhere. So they kind of address that at the beginning, and then they just go into the story, and it does it so seamlessly. Just like, they're like, all these people died. Like, they just killed people because there was no space for them, and then it goes into the most heartbreaking love story period ever. Like, and then it just comes back out to just talking about like how important these characters were. Like, as much as Joel does not want to admit that he has an affection for Bill specifically, but he, like, coming out and saying like, these were 2 characters and now we're just gonna go off. Like, you could go from episode 2 to episode 4, be like, where'd they get this car? But nothing would happen. But you're missing out at the heart of the show. So I really loved what they did.
I really liked what I saw. I think it was like a TikTok, or it was sounded like some meme somewhere or whatever, but it was Neil Druckmann tweeted where he's like, why are you guys crying? This was like the happiest episode of the show. He's like, so it's like, or like, why are you saying this is like, why are you crying? Like, why are you saying this is sad? Like, this is happy. This is like the happiest episode of the whole show.
Like, wait till
It's like,
season
like,
2.
That's true, but like,
wait till episode
Yeah.
1 or 2 of season 2.
Oh my god!
and-
I think it's gonna be episode 1, which is
You-
gonna be.
you think
insane.
so?
I don't
Ooh.
think
I
I
think
don't think
it's
it's gonna
episode
be.
1.
I don't think it's gonna be episode 1 for 2 reasons. One, it would be the perfect place to leave off at the end of the episode, Joel meeting Abby. That would be great because like what they did with the first episode of this one is they actually cut in the middle of a mission. Like that mission doesn't end there. So I think they could cut where it's like they're meeting Abby, like what the hell's gonna happen, and then I think it'll happen in probably episode 2. The other reason being Craig Mazin, I think his name is, the showrunner, has said there's already like at least 2 seasons worth of material in part 2 to make
for sure.
for this.
oh, did he? Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
so I think it would be too fast to spoiler alert if you haven't played part 2 yet to do what they did to Joel. So but I think it would be a good cliffhanger for the next episode to see like what's going to happen. And as heartbreaking as that scene is with Joel, I'm interested to see how that plays out in live action.
What's also crazy is like, you know, Pedro Pascal is, you know, like very much like the like prize actor, like the star actor of the show.
Yep.
And they're gonna have to do a lot of that show without him.
And he's so beloved by so many people, and people who have not played part
Dude,
2
why-
are
yeah,
in,
I
are
didn't think about
in for
I didn't think
a
about that.
treat.
They have their attraction to Joel because it's Pedro Pascal, and then
Yeah.
we have our attraction to Joel because it's Joel.
Yep.
Oh man.
Like as
Yo,
much
everyone's
as
gonna be fucking in shambles.
I mean, it was the
Oh,
same
man.
deal in Game of Thrones. What happened to Oberyn Martell,
oh my god,
right?
just he's like the
Loved
Sean
him,
Bean
loved his
of getting your
character.
face smashed in.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man, God, I fucking love this show. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like I'm
GG's
ready
Craig
to
Mazin.
cry.
Yo, y'all seen Chernobyl?
Oh,
Y'all fuck with Chernobyl?
That show was fucking fantastic.
Craig Mazin
yeah.
at it again. Fucking
Truly.
God.
truly.
Oh, the
So
sound
honestly-
design in Chernobyl. So good.
Watching The Last of Us now has me it's like thinking back on Marvel shows and being like, you guys need to step it up, because there's always a part in every Marvel show where there's at least 2 episodes in the middle that could just be cut out.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just
That
had
are
no
just
reason.
So
Yeah.
boring, a little bit of exposition. It always ends with like, oh, we just found out information, and then that's the end. Like
Yeah.
The Last of Us
Oh, sorry.
has not been pulling punches week to week, and I love it.
It has, and I'll argue with anybody that says like that this is like, yeah, technically for the story we're following with Joel and Ellie, it is a filler episode, but in the grand scheme of things in this universe created by Naughty Dog, like it is the heart, like it is the beginning of the heart of the show, because this like these games are about like love and found family and grief and sacrifice, and like that episode perfectly embodies the elements of this show. And I'm just really glad that they made the changes that they did from the game to this, just because it was
like,
so beautifully well done.
What did he say at the end of the episode where it was like we said to ourselves, like, if we could tell like the same story as like the game, like if it's good and it's like the same story, like we're gonna stick to the game.
Mhm.
But like if we have a better story to tell that ends up deviating from the game, like we're going to deviate.
Yeah.
And that was their like episode 3 is their first deviation from the game, because they felt that they could provide a better story with like that background for with Frank and Bill. And I was like, yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Like that's
and
if you're going to deviate, that's the way to do it. Like at its core, it's still
like it's still like
like,
we're
you know-
still gonna see the same things happen. Like we know what's going to happen once they get to. Have they even said where they're trying to go yet? Or I guess they won't know until they get to Tommy, I think. But once they get to
where they say it was
Wyoming.
like Wyoming, right? Yeah, they said they were
Mhm.
going. Yeah,
because like in the game it's Salt Lake City, is it not?
I don't remember.
Eventually,
They're going somewhere. They end up in
I
a
don't
city, in a
remember.
hospital somewhere where something very big happens, and like that's where the show's going. If they don't do that, then they failed. But we trust already with like even with the first episode, like the shots, like when the outbreak happens, like in the car, like that was shot for shot, right there. The car.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say. Like them putting that first episode on YouTube, like you said, like that's such a fucking like just pro move, because like if you played the game and you watch that first episode, like even just like the shot composition of like the camera in the back seat as they're driving through the city, like that's the perspective you get in the game.
Yeah.
And like the camera pans felt like a video game camera, like, you know, because like in the video game, like you're on rails, like you're just sitting there watching, like you're looking out the car and you're watching as like, you know, the NPC, it was like Tommy or whatever, like the NPCs are driving the truck. So the truck's on rails, you're just along for the ride. And like same thing in the show, like you're in the back seat, like from Ellie's perspective essentially, and like the way the camera's panning, like it feels like you're in it in like a video game. They're recreating the shot for shot of in the game. So it's like if you played the game and you watch that episode, like you're watching the game in live action. Like it's so shot for shot well done. It's just it's insane. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I feel like I had another point to make,
I'm
but
hyped for that tonight.
oh, I know. I'm so excited because I think this is where the hunters are introduced. And I think this is another deviation from the game. Is in the game they go to Philadelphia, but now I think they're going somewhere else.
I can't remember. I'm honestly considering replaying. I would love to play the second one. I've only played it once when it came out in 2020. But honestly, I'd love to replay it, I think when the show's done, so I could re-experience these moments fresh every week and then get into the game. And they're so freaking smart. They're re-releasing the remaster. It's already out on PS5, but it comes out on Steam and PC
Next
on
month.
March 28th.
Yep.
So pretty much as soon as the show wraps up, the game's being I think released for the first time on PC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're taking because they like remastered it again for PS5 using I think it was the engine for part 2 and like the character models from part 2 for part 1.
There was a generational leap between the two of them from 2013 to 2020.
So I played through like the PS5 version and it was unreal. And knowing what you know, because I kind of did it backwards. Like I generally knew what happened in part 1, but I didn't really know what happened in part 2. So I played through that one first, and I actually watched while Will played, because it's one of those kind of games where someone else can play and you can just sit and watch and still feel like you're playing. So that's what
like
I
it's so
did.
cinematic that like, you don't even have to be the one playing it.
Exactly. But then when I went back, it was cool to see like the similarities or what they made the same. So particularly in that last scene in the hospital, when you get to the operating room with the doctor / Abby's dad, the character model that's in the re-released version that will be on the the PC version is the actual model from part 2 for Abby's dad, because like
oh, that's cool. I like that.
It's like there's a 7-year difference between the two games, so of course like the character models will be different, and I'm sure Naughty Dog didn't know then who that character would be in part 2, so they like
Hey, George Lucas did.
Yeah, exactly.
They just went back and like changed a bunch of faces and a bunch of shit so that it all matched.
Yeah.
But like honestly,
Love it.
like as far as like I guess because you could technically call that like a retcon, right? And so like as far as like retcons go, like that's about as I feel like as good as you can get.
Yeah.
Like thematically, like narrative wise, like it makes so much sense to be like the catalyst to the entire story that we get essentially for part 2. Like it's not just like it doesn't feel like okay, they just went back and fucking changed that, but it's just like it makes such perfect sense.
It was already very close. Like there was never a moment in part 2 where I didn't buy the narrative that they were telling, that
exactly,
because like responsible for what he did. You know,
I was worried about like going into part 2, like I was concerned about like, or I think it was like while I was playing it, it was like why do we hate Abby at the start? And it's like what is her motivation to be like going to such great lengths to, you know, to get her
Why
her
does
lick
Abby
back?
hate us? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then, you know, that happens and you're like, okay, fuck her, like, to shit and back. And then it just like kind of like blindsides you with like, oh wait, she's not the bad guy, like everybody's morally gray.
Yeah.
And it's just
Mhm.
like I want to hate her but I can't. And then by the time the end of the game rolls around, like I end up fucking like hating Ellie for what she did. And it's just like they give you this just humongous shift, and like, you know, your perception of these characters, like they do such a good job of like setting you up, and then they just like rip your feet out from under you, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, actually,
I
time to think
remember
critically about morality, and you're like, damn it.
I remember when I was playing with Will, the one thing I actually did know going in is that Joel died. And but I figured it would be an end game thing. I was not expecting it to happen when it happened, and it to be the
Yeah, it
catalyst.
happens really early.
So
Mhm.
although I did know like vaguely what was going to happen, and I had like no relationship with these characters from the first game, it caught me by such a surprise. Like we actually had to like stop playing the game because I was crying so hard. Like we took a break and started playing the next day again because I was just like, I am so overcome with emotion. One, like even if you just start with part 2, like they've already done a good job of building the relationship between these characters and just how devastating that death scene really is.
Yeah.
Like that is one of
It's gruesome.
it's it's horrible. Like gore aside, just the emotional aspect of it is brutal. And I commend Naughty Dog for like going there. What did blindside me was the character switch, like the perspective switch when you play Abby. And I know so many people were so angry about it, and I get it.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved it.
I loved it. Like I think it took me maybe a little while to buy in, but not because I didn't like Abby, but because I was confused as to like, okay, where's this going? Like you've made this person a clear antagonist. How is this like, what's the purpose of me playing through an antagonist story? And then you learn she's not
I think that's
actually
when I
an
realized.
antagonist.
Yeah, I think that's when I realized, like, I saw it coming, because, like, you start playing as Abby, and I think because I was streaming it, and I think I said on stream, I was like, man, they're going to make me not hate Abby, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like, god damn it. It's like, we're playing, and it's like, I'm like, all right, like, when's it going to happen? And then, like, you meet, what's his name, Lev?
Yeah.
Like, you meet Lev, and you're like, okay, so
Mhm.
she's not, like, this inhuman monster. Like, okay, cool, like, whatever. And I'm like, man, they're gonna make me not hate her. And then like comes into the game, I'm like, damn it. That like you find out why she did what she did, and you're like,
Yeah.
Like you're
Can't
almost
blame her.
more
Like,
mad at
she's-
Ellie at the end of it because she goes
literally,
back.
yeah, at the end of the game, like I was so fucking like upset with her, and I was just like, dude, just leave it the fuck alone.
And
Like, because like she realizes like why, you know, so it's like she has
Yeah.
the same information that we do, and she's still doing what she's doing, and it's just like, then you get like the whole fucking like fight in the shallow water, like after you like save her from her fucking like crucifix
Well, that's-
essentially. And you're just like, let it go, bro. Like, let it go. Come on. Like, this is so frustrating.
And that's like the ultimate message is that revenge will never bring you peace.
yeah.
Will never bring back what you've lost, and will probably cost you everything. You know, if you're willing to give your entire life for revenge, that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
on
Like,
TikTok,
they did such a good job with it.
on TikTok, I was watching this really interesting critical analysis somebody put together. And I don't know if this was Naughty Dog's intention, but this creator on TikTok made a really interesting parallel between this myth about Cassandra in Greek mythology. So if you don't know who Cassandra is, she is like a mythological character in Greek mythology, and she is cursed that no one will believe her. For like she knows like the future, she can like tell the future, but when she warns people, she's cursed to have people not believe her. And so the story that follows her is essentially this cycle of revenge where she warns, like, essentially, like, if you go down this path of revenge, like, if you don't break this cycle, all of these bad things will happen. And no one believes this prophecy. at all, and then all of these people end up dead. Like somebody kills like somebody's dad, and then that person goes and kills that person who killed them, but then somebody comes and kills the person who killed that person who killed, and it's just this cycle. So like I think The Last of Us fits really well into this story about just this cycle of revenge, and eventually like it just needs to be broken. And it took me a little while to understand the ending of it, because like it's so short in comparison to any single one of the days that you play through in part 2. And I was like, what's the purpose of this? Like, I don't get this. Like, she had such a happy life, and then she like willingly left it behind. She left Dina, she left their baby.
Yeah, like Dina's like asking her, she's like, don't, like, just stay. And she's like, nope, gotta go be a fucking dickhead.
And then she breaks
like,
the cycle. And it took me a little while to understand the importance of that, but now I do understand. Like, it's Ellie, she's breaking the cycle. And multiple analysis or like things I've seen is that she sees Joel and her in Abby and Lev, and when she sees that, that's when she's like, we gotta break this, because this will, like, if I kill you, Abby, like Lev's gonna come after me, and then somebody's gonna go after Lev, and then, you know, yada, like, just
it just
continues.
You end up with this fucking Montague and Capulet fucking blood feud for all of eternity. It's just like,
exactly.
Damn.
There's also
so that was a really interesting analysis I saw.
Yeah, no, it's pretty accurate. The one thing I was gonna say is like there's the moment where Ellie, and this is always like stuck with me, when she's trying to drown Abby in those final moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she starts thinking about Joel playing the guitar, like such a sweet memory that she has, and it's almost like as if the revenge that's completely consumed her is sullying those memories.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
The little part of Joel that she still holds dear to her is just being destroyed.
Yeah.
She
but like
has
it
to
also
let it
like
go if she wants to keep that.
Yeah. Because like it's between like that and like that's fueling like the anger. Like she has that sweet memory, and it's like she's never gonna have that again because of, you know, air quotes, because of Abby, but like it's because of Joel at the same time too. Like it's Joel's actions because of his love for Ellie that spark the whole story of part 2. And so she's having to grapple the fact that like she has this memory of him that she's never going to get to like experience again because of her.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, like you're tainting that like memory. And it's like, if you're just going to let yourself be consumed with revenge, like it's not going to do anything to help, you know, at the end of the day.
And
like, you want that catharsis of like taking out that anger.
Yeah, and I think at that point she probably is starting to like realize that she's like, he's gone. He's not coming back. What is killing Abby going to do for her, other than the fact that like she killed the person that killed her, you know, quote unquote father. And I think that's where I'm really happy that they brought like Lev's character in, because that's where I think like Lev is that like seemingly like grounding person for that moment, because she can, like, maybe not in that instance where she's trying to drown Abby, but there is a shot of Abby just staring, or Ellie staring down at Abby and Lev, and it's probably around then that she's like, okay, like this person depends on this other person. So I think that's probably one of those quintessential moments in the game too, where Ellie probably is like, okay, like we're never going to stop. Like this is never going to stop ever unless somebody eventually breaks it. So I'm glad that Ellie did. I'm interested to see that, because Neil Druckmann has said that he has not closed the door on a part 3. But they won't release something if there's no story there. Like if there's no tangible good story to be told. So that's not an announcement, but that's not a official, like, we're done. Because they closed the door, like, to put it in, like, perspective. They closed the door on Uncharted. Like, that's done.
Oh no.
But
Say it ain't so.
Sure. What about a game with Tom Holland and Marky Mark?
Naughty Dog, please reconsider.
but
Yeah, when they were
Yeah,
flying those boats on helicopters, like I was just like, all right, this shit.
I thought you loved that part.
I loved it in the sense that like it was the most like ridiculous brain off bullshit of like that whole movie. But like at the same time, it was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, how heavy are those boats? And helicopters just picking them up and fucking Mario Karting around the sky? Like, come on, dude.
why not?
No way. This is ridiculous.
They did it, man.
Practical. I heard it was all practical.
And they did it in areas that were uncharted.
Oh, whoa.
Dude. I said it.
Cue X-Files theme.
Dude.
Yeah.
Easily get nominated for a SAG award. I mean, they're just giving those away, so you don't have to work too hard.
Hopefully they get nominated for a Razzie. Remember Razzies? Do they still do Razzies? Is that
They
a thing?
do.
They do.
And they kind of have been in the news lately. Because I saw that. Because normally the Razzies, or what the Razzies should be, is just dunking on established actors putting out terrible work.
Shit, yeah.
But they nominated a 12-year-old who, like, this was their first movie.
No, come on.
Yeah, so they were getting a lot
They
of
went
flack
back on
about
that, though,
Did
right?
they?
Yeah, that's mean spirited.
I think they did, and they said they won't. I don't know if they rescinded the nomination, but they said they will not be nominating anyone under the age of 16 or 18. But yeah, that's fucked up to do that to a 12-year-old.
That's
Oh yeah, you're right. They removed.
Oh,
it.
I'm glad to see the 43rd annual Golden Raspberry nomination, which is like, that's like the Oscar for Worst Picture. Morbius is in the running. Jared Leto's in the running for Worst Actor.
Great.
Tom Hanks is Geppetto in Pinocchio.
Tom Hanks.
I'm sure he did fine, right?
I would love to see that.
Like, I'm sure the movie sucks, but there's no way Tom Hanks had like some dog shit performance.
I think it also is probably fueled by the fact that Guillermo del Toro put out the best stop motion ever, and it was Pinocchio.
It just happened to be a bad.
Yeah. So
not this one. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not the stop motion. It's a live action version.
Gotcha. Damn, worst supporting actor with Tom Hanks and Elvis. Yo, what is with the Tom Hanks slander? I cannot get behind this.
Maybe
Tom
just
Hanks was
phoned it
insufferable
in
in
last year,
Elvis. Like, I don't know. I just don't like Tom Hanks. Like,
Really?
I don't.
I don't think you're allowed to say that on the internet.
I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Like, free speech.
I don't know. This is my podcast. I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
I am just not. I'm not saying he's a bad actor.
What did you like about Tom Hanks?
He doesn't have
his initials are literally thanks. What do you mean?
Okay, like, thanks for nothing, I guess. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Whoa. Dude. You ever seen Bridge of Spies? You ever seen a little indie movie called Toy Story?
Have you ever seen the last 10 minutes of Sully? Pretty good.
Is that the one where he flips the plate upside? Oh, no, that was with Denzel.
His older stuff I will give is pretty good. Like,
that was Sully.
Catch Me If You Can, one of the best movies ever. Just rewatched that a couple weeks ago. Phenomenal movie. And he fits
Tom
right
Hanks in Castaway? Come on.
No, I haven't even seen Castaway.
Yeah, but that was like 23 years ago, though.
That's the point.
His newer stuff
He's been putting out... Nah, fuck you. How dare you?
Okay, name me something within the last 10 years that's really good.
Actually,
yeah, Bridge of Spies was good.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is that like within the last 10 years?
Yeah, it came out in 2015.
Let's watch Pinocchio and Elvis, and then
Elvis
I
is
really
good.
don't want to watch Elvis.
Elvis is good.
I really couldn't.
Phenomenal.
You know who I don't give a shit about? Is whoever plays Elvis, that fucking guy. Yeah, Austin Butler.
He's nominated for an Oscar. So actually, what's really funny about this is that Tom Hanks got nominated for a Razzie, and then Austin Butler.
Doesn't Tom Hanks have an Oscar? Isn't he an Oscar award-winning actor?
Yeah, two of them. Probably for Castaway.
All right, so you're objectively incorrect. Sorry.
No,
but people can fall. Look at M. Night Shyamalan. He was like the biggest director in like 1998.
Okay, so
and
question:
now he only makes garbage.
What did he make that everyone loved him so much for?
The Sixth Sense.
That's it.
everybody went crazy for it. Yeah,
And then
Well,
he
almost
became this fucking like. He became this
hack.
monolith of cinematography. He made
and then he did The Village and Signs, and people were like, "Okay,
The Village sucked.
the next
then-
one will be better."
And then he had the audacity to try and adapt Avatar: The Last Airbender into a live action show, and I will never forgive him for that.
There were a lot of mistakes made there.
So
Bro, Tom Hanks got hella Oscars. My man's got hella Oscars.
He got 2.
Okay.
That's not hella. That's just 2.
No, he got Best Actor in 95, Best Actor in
Says
99,
me, who's
Best
definitely
Actor
part
in
of the
94,
film industry.
Best Actor in 89, Best Supporting Actor in 2020.
I'm gonna just
Okay,
play
the
devil's
last-
advocate. What did he win Best Supporting for?
He didn't win.
What did he win Best Supporting for?
No, he's only won for leading.
He won
and the
Best
last time he
Supporting-
won was 1995, the year of my birth, for Forrest Gump. That was the last time he won. And then
We got Best Supporting in 2020.
he was nominated. He didn't win. And that was for his
Was it? Then
A
it's
Beautiful
Google
Day in
just
the Neighborhood that
hard to tell.
Fred Rogers won.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm sure that was
Yeah.
fine. It's just I'm not gonna watch it. Unfortunately, sorry. I don't know. I'm just like not a huge fan. And then I
You don't have
really
to apologize to me. And I'm not PBS. You don't have to apologize to me. I'm not watching the Mr. Rogers movie. I've got no skin in that game.
But Elvis is a good movie.
Did you know his mom knitted all of his his sweaters? Did you know that?
Fred Rogers or Tom Hanks?
Fred Rogers.
Tom Hanks.
Hanks
and
is
his
Fred
mom
Rogers.
still packs his lunch
Yeah.
Damn.
on his way to set.
Yeah, every like sweater he wore on that show, every single one, his mom knitted those for him.
That's sweet.
Isn't that cute?
Were the sweaters on the set hand knit?
Yeah, like those were his. Like those were his sweaters. Like
Those
he didn't
were
have
Mr.
wardrobe.
Rogers' actual sweaters?
Oh, for Tom Hanks. Oh, I'm sorry. Probably those are probably.
Because all I'm saying is that if an elderly woman did not knit Tom Hanks's sweaters, that movie should be canceled. That movie.
There's got to be some.
There should be a
elderly woman out
disclaimer
there.
at the start of it saying this is a complete work of fiction.
This comes
Even
from
the sweaters
Indonesia.
are fucking real.
It doesn't
factory
even
in
remotely
Indonesia.
represent anything
No,
from this
dude.
plane of reality.
Not
Yeah.
child slave labor.
If
in
there's
my
an
Tom Hanks
H&M
movie.
tag,
Speaking of Elvis,
Can't-
If there's an H&M tag,
right?
I swear to
This-
God,
that
if I
movie's-
see a
that
Gap
movie's
tag, I'm
trash.
fucking rioting.
Yep.
got a little help me tag in it for the kids that are just wanting out.
No, not the.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing.
Sheen tag. No, but you're saying it to make me laugh, and it makes me look bad.
I'm a bad
I'm
person.
dying to see Tom Hanks. That's why we invited you on.
Good, good. Only bad people on this podcast.
Yeah, we only brought you on to expose you for everybody.
Only bad. It's the new only murders in this building. Only bad people.
Only bad people on this podcast. Fantastic.
Oh my god. I'm absolutely dying to see Tom Hanks as Geppetto now. And then we need to watch that, and then as a palate cleanser, do an episode of Velma on HBO.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
no.
dude.
I really want to watch at
As
least an
soon-
episode.
As soon as I heard that, like, you know, it was just got like a fucking dog shit like reviews, and like people all over online were saying it was like garbage. I was just like, oh, like they're hating on, you know, like a woman of color who's, you know, like making their own show, like whatever. It's like I still want to watch it because I feel like, you know, it's like an adult oriented, you know, like Scooby Doo type thing. I was like, yeah, I'm down. And then like started hearing that, like, you know, people were like, no, we watched it and it's just objectively terrible. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, I haven't heard a single redeeming thing about that show. Like, everyone just says, like, it's just actually bad, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah, I can't wait to enjoy it.
you can do that
Watch
on
it
your own.
ironically.
Have fun on your own.
No, I
You're not
think we
gonna
need
join
to.
us?
I think we need to do it together. I think
Nah.
we could. We'll
I'll
get
be
into a
playing
call. We'll
Dead
all
Space
mute so we
video
can pay
game
attention.
Second plus.
you.
Bro. Okay. Speaking of games that need to be made into shows,
Dead Space.
Dead Space would make a tight fucking show.
It would.
oh my god,
Oof.
it's so good.
Well, hear me
So
out.
good.
Have you guys seen? Have you seen? Fuck, what was it called with Dennis Quaid? Pandorum.
No.
It's about as close to a live action Dead Space as that you'll get. But yeah, so it's got Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
He wakes up on, it's like a population bomb ship that's like traveling to some like Earth's fucking dying. They put like a bajillion people on this giant spaceship, and they're sending it to some habitable planet that they found. And so
Is
like
the
everyone's
planet called Pandorum?
Probably, if I were to guess.
What is this, Avatar?
So like the ships.
Damn.
Got him, dumbass. But the ship's full of like people, and like they're all in like hypersleep. They're traveling to some super far away planet, and then like Dennis Quaid's character like wakes up, and like the ship's like overrun with like basically necromorphs essentially. So it's like a horror thriller. Flew under way too many people's radar, but it's a really good sci-fi like horror that we definitely do have to watch sometime. I feel like I've mentioned it before.
Let's do it for movie night one night. Yeah, you have.
It's
Ben
good.
Foster. It's got Norman Reedus.
It's got Kung Lee, who is a former MMA UFC fighter. Pretty cool. Yeah, so it's really good. It's definitely underrated as fuck.
Will was saying that a really good movie, or Dead Space like movie, was Event Horizon with Lawrence Fishburne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually think I've seen Event Horizon before.
Will watched it.
It's been a long
night.
time for me, but it's a trip. Oh shit.
You guys watched it last night?
He bought it on 4K. So he had two of his friends over. They did
to go right along with your copy of The Last Jedi.
Yeah. It's right next to it.
Yeah, that one.
We're not letting that go, by the way.
We had to bring it up.
Oh, you know what else we could bring up? The Witch.
We could.
We won't.
We almost got through the whole podcast without talking about
the
that
Witch.
fucking movie.
we could have let it
It's
go.
like we're just fiddling around with this big red button that says nuke our friendship. Like, we really want to do this or want to go down this road?
The doomsday clock is at 1 minute to midnight.
1 minute to midnight on this fucking movie.
This fucking movie.
We don't need to talk about it. I just
hold
knew
on.
it was a bone to, or a nerve to swing at.
It's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes?
The Witch?
No. Yeah, bro.
Because it's a good movie.
Audience score is 60%. The audience is like, no, fuck this movie.
Even I think a 60's generous, but
It's got a 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which Letterboxd is fantastic. That is pretty high.
everybody
Can we also
just
talk
thinks
about
that Roger Ebert just holds their pinky out and want to digest this film and really break it down. Like, it just wasn't that fucking
Would you say his
good.
name is Robert Eggers? Get it right.
No, the movie critic
whatever.
Roger Ebert,
Yeah, it's Ebert.
not the director Robert Eggers.
Huh? What movie?
That's a
Come on.
different. That's a
Keep
different
up, Jasmine.
I'm
Come on.
not. I'm looking at my Letterboxd.
Oh, this is-
and
I'm
marveling
not.
at my favorites.
Do you have any?
Dude,
do you have any good like meme reviews? We talked briefly about Boots and Boot.
Oh,
I don't know if you've
God.
read Boots reviews.
Fuck.
Boots got some great fucking
Let me
reviews.
see if I can pull up some of my reviews.
Oh, yeah,
speaking of
topical.
Tom
Catch me if
Hanks.
you can. 5 stars. Remember when Tom Hanks had a spine? Fuck you, Jasmine. How about that? You leave him
Tom Hanks
alone.
Man,
had his
oh damn.
I cannot believe you don't
what
like Tom Hanks.
won't he do for money?
I think
Tom
okay.
Hanks? What?
We
Did I miss the train on Tom Hanks?
I-
Why does everyone hate Tom Hanks?
I don't know, dude.
I
I
think
heard
he's
he was
just
dog shit.
overhyped.
Dog shit is Geppetto, dude. I don't know.
Geppetto, dude. Phoning it in as Geppetto. Dude,
Yo,
so
fuck
much
you.
backstory and lore.
Justice
and he
for
was a fucking
Tom, bro.
caricature.
Can't believe you've done this.
I think one of my favorite meme reviews from myself is it was in direct response to you, Rob. You watched Avatar on December 14th, 2022. And you wrote, "This is an
I didn't watch it. I just reviewed it.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, well, you reviewed it.
I've seen it before, but like I needed to review it.
You saw it 10
This
years
is
ago.
disingenuous.
Yeah.
You're breaking... This is not what Letterboxd is for. It's supposed to be a log of movies when you watch them. But you know what? We'll pick that bone later.
Oh, so I'm just not allowed to review movies I've seen before? That's kind of
No,
pigeonholing me.
I
into-
said so. I'm the Letterboxd police. Anyway, here's your review. You said this is an unsalted saltine cracker in movie form. It made $3 billion, but without looking at the synopsis of this movie, name one character that isn't Jake Sully. 2.5 stars.
Okay, waiting.
And then I watched it at Will's parents. I gave it 5 stars. And I wrote
5 stars.
Wow,
Oh, get
Jasmine.
out!
because it's a good movie.
Who are you?
No, it's fine. It's a fine movie.
It's a good movie.
But to rate it 5 stars,
And then I wrote it earned all 3 of those
Unacceptable.
billions.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you, Ron Burgundy.
When did you publish that review, Jess?
December 24th, 2022. So Christmas Miracle, you know?
Fuck you.
So
hard.
literally like the day after Rob reviewed it.
Pretty
You're
much,
like, you know
yeah.
what?
Oh, I got a review. 1917. Have you seen that? Have you seen 1917?
I have not. That's
Ooh.
who
That's the air
directed
quote one shot.
that? Right. I think I confused
Sam
it between
Mendes?
that one and Dunkirk, just because they're war movies from roughly the same.
They came
time.
out. Yeah, I'm Sam Mendes. I'm pretty sure that's also like the reason why I hadn't actually seen it was like they came out so like close to each other, and Dunkirk is a PG-13 World War I, II movie. I forget which. And it's just like you can't PG-13 a fucking World War movie. That's just gonna suck. And
Yeah, I think that was my main
motivation.
motivation. Is like I don't know a lot about World War One, but of the world wars, it's the boring one. So like I don't want to watch a movie about it.
I don't know.
Christ.
World War One's got some pretty intense shit going
Does
on.
it?
Yeah, World War One's pretty. brutal.
Dunkirk was World War Two.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's another one of those movies where the critics like get out a pillow, put it on the floor, and then get on their knees to just service it the entire fucking time. Like, did we watch the same film? Just because Christopher Nolan's not gonna come to your house and beat the shit out of you and fuck your wife. Like, you could say one of his movies is bad. Like that's okay.
Oh, Jazz, it's got Cillian Murphy in it, so you're obligated to watch it now. Sorry.
Oh, I've seen Dunkirk. I saw it in theaters.
Oh.
I haven't seen
I saw it in
1917. That's what I
IMAX.
thought you were asking about.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
But one of the
That one does not have Cillian Murphy.
it
That
does
one
not,
does not
but
have
it does
Cillian,
have, and I'm gonna go off in a direction you're not expecting. It does have the actor George McKay, who I think is the lead or one of the leads.
Which,
and he's
Dunkirk
in
or
this movie.
1917?
1917.
I'm so confused. I'm so sorry. Okay.
I'm talking about 1917 right now, directed by who knows who. But George McKay, who's in
Sam
19
Mendes.
Yes, there we go. Sam Mendes, whoever that is. He was in George McKay, actor in 1917, just so we're clear, all right? Us, the speakers,
Yep, I'm following.
and the panelists
I'm
and the audience we're on this train. George McKay is in this movie called Captain Fantastic, and it is fantastic. It is actually one of the best movies. It's from 2016. It's this indie movie that I kind of just saw out of nowhere. It's got Viggo Mortensen in it, and it's about this family that's like him and like 8 kids who all live in like backcountry, middle of fucking nowhere. And it's a movie about like their mom is mentally ill, and then she passes away. So it's like a journey of them going to her funeral, and like this story of like loss and grief and whatever. But it's just one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen, because it's this dad who like is grieving the loss of his wife, who he kind of had already lost before she like, because she like they're living on this like, I don't know, like plot of forested land together, learning to be survivalists. But then she leaves and goes to like a mental health facility, and then she dies at some point after that. So he's like grieving 2 losses. One where she like leaves the family to go get help, and then she doesn't really get the help she needs and then passes away. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend.
It sounds very depressing.
It kind of is, but it's also like uplifting, because it's about a family like grieving together, but then like their bond is like building at the same time, and they're reconnecting with each other and their dad. And I don't know, it's always one of those ones that like I can go back and watch and feel really good about it. Anyway, that is not probably
Just
not what you're
for the record, I did want you to know that Sam Mendes, director of the critically acclaimed 1917. Also
Critically
directed Shrek the Musical, just to kind of give you an idea of who we're
You're
talking about.
kidding.
hell yeah.
Is that
I'm
the
not
same
kidding.
Sam Mendes?
Okay, he's
Yeah,
on
same
my
guy.
radar now.
He's on my
What an
radar.
incredible body of
Oh,
work.
he directed Skyfall, which I have not seen.
He did, yeah. Skyfall was
Sorry.
good. I haven't seen the most recent.
I saw
There
that
were-
one.
Two. There was Spectre and No Time to Die.
I saw
No Time to Die. That's one I
Die.
haven't seen.
Dude, my grandma spoiled No Time to Die for me. Like last week.
Asshole.
It was unbelievable. She was like, "Oh my god, I just can't believe they killed James Bond at the end." I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Wait, who just drops that in casual conversation?
I was like, "Yo, spoiler alert." She's like, "Oh,
Damn, bro.
sorry." She's like, "Yeah, I guess that was the end of the movie."
Yeah, that's just the end of Daniel Craig's run as
yeah,
Bond.
Jeannie.
Sorry,
okay.
dude. Do we know who's the next Bond? Do we know?
Nobody knows. They're talking about what's his face, that handsome guy from Bullet Train and Kick Ass.
Oh,
right.
Something. Aaron
He's too
Taylor
young.
Johnson.
He's too young for Bond.
Isn't he like the
Anya
perfect
Taylor
age?
Joy.
Anya Taylor Johnson.
Damn, you got all of that wrong
Johnson,
so
Johnson.
fast.
What? I'm like mostly correct. I'm pretty sure.
Aaron
I think
Taylor
I'm
Johnson.
66% correct. Yeah. So
You were
I think I'm mostly correct
33%
by
correct.
Anya Taylor Johnson. That's 66% correct. Run the numbers.
Run the numbers. Anyway,
I loved Bullet Train, by the way. Speaking of,
It was so good. One of my favorite movies.
I haven't
last
seen
year.
it. And
Such
I
a sleeper.
refuse.
bro, come
Why?
on, why? It's good. Is it you?
And
that
that's
doesn't like
why.
it.
Anya Taylor Johnson.
And your fucking husband bought what the fuck on Blu-ray? Are you serious? But you won't watch Bullet Train? Dude, the standards are all over
How
the
many
place
times have
in
you
that
seen The
house.
Last Jedi and you won't watch Bullet Train?
Okay, here's the joke though: is that I've seen it like once, so I don't even like. First off,
But you own it on Blu-ray.
I don't own it.
DVD was not good enough.
It's in your
No,
possession.
DVD,
so
DVD is like not.
DVD was not good.
DVDs for poor people.
DVDs are.
Do they even make DVDs anymore?
They do.
Also, what the fuck? Are
I
you
actually
doing
have a
buying
bone
DVDs
to
in
pick with
2023?
DVDs because they
Because
suck.
Betamax is, or they do.
They suck, and
They
the
do
best TV show on the entire planet, HBO's Succession, is only released on DVD. What the fuck? Excuse me, that's the best show that ever.
DVD.
Why? But if you if you have HBO, it's available for you. Why do you need to buy it too?
Because I want it.
You can just watch it whenever you
there's
want.
a
All
there's a
right.
certain quality to playing it
I
off
can't
the
judge you.
disc. I'm also
Is
like,
there?
yeah, there is like a noticeable difference between streaming something and watching it on disc. And unfortunately, I've drank the Kool-Aid that is Will's insanity.
You're officially a cinemaphile now.
Oh my god! Like
You won't even watch movie night movies with us because you're like, ugh, it's not in 7790 by 4370.
yeah,
I
exactly.
can't watch
Yep,
this.
You are correct.
Dude, but also fuck Discord.
yeah,
Fuck Discord.
true.
You want to stream in 1080p? Cool.
I'll watch movies with
You
you guys
can't,
that I haven't
but-
seen.
Cool.
Or
You can't, by the way. Look.
there was a period there where you guys were watching the same movies as us at the same time. So I was just gonna go watch it on my TV, a 4K OLED TV, or I could watch it in 1080p streaming live
What's
from
your
New York
excuse now?
City.
You fucking hate our friendship? Is that what?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
What it is?
Don't
You
put
heard
her
it
on
here
the spot like
first.
that.
Don't put her on the spot.
You shouldn't ask questions like that when you know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You want your
to answer that
feelings
question.
hurt?
Just don't
I
say
just- I
something you
always-
can't take back. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about our friendship. You brought that up. Brandon, we're good. You're good.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
All right.
Unless you want to duke it out about the Witch of the Last Jedi, but
Then we're not
I
good.
mean, the last Jedi's trash. You know what's funny? We were gonna watch Glass Onion last night, which was written directed by Rian Johnson, the same guy who ruined Star Wars. And we ended up watching like 4 hours of Hoarders instead, and that was
I honestly-
wonderful experience.
the
I
last
honestly
Onion?
didn't mind Glass Onion. Glass Onion.
Glass Anya Taylor-Joy. Have you ever seen it?
Huh?
Glass Onion Taylor.
What were you gonna watch?
Glass
know-
Onion Taylor-Joy.
You're gonna watch Glass
Actress.
Onion.
I'm sorry, Glass Onion.
Okay. You're gonna watch The Last
a Knives Out
Onion.
story.
I actually started putting in IMDb The Last Onion. What the fuck?
That's the only Anya I know of, so technically that is correct. That's
True.
a.
I got to see Glass
correct
Onion in
interpretation.
theaters. They released it for like a week, and I got to go watch it
Oh,
at
really?
the theater. Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
I would like to see it. I mean, Hoarders is just so.
Oh, you gotta.
Satisfying. It's so good, and I once again, it's like the morbid curiosity, and I'm rooting. Like, I feel like guilty saying that I enjoy the show, but I'm really rooting for the people
Oh,
the entire
absolutely.
time. Jumpy was actually brought to tears last night. She was crying during one of the stories, but it's a good freaking show.
Of Hoarders.
Yeah, it was an intense. These two people, they were probably in their 70s, and they had been together, boyfriend and girlfriend, for about 42 years, however long it was. But he wouldn't marry her because she's a chronic hoarder, and she's obsessed with her things, and she can't live in her home because it's been like condemned and all this stuff. And they ended up getting her house cleared out, and he actually developed multiple sclerosis, and his health was deteriorating, and they're all in the clean house, and he proposed to her. And Alex had tears streaming down her face. She was crying. It was an emotional moment. It was a good episode.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
But man, it's a struggle getting there. But anyway, what I was really getting at was I would rather watch people poop in plastic bags than watch another Ryan Johnson movie. That's what I'm getting at.
Look, I'll say that Glass Onion is not bad. I do think
bad.
Knives Out was better.
I'm sure it's good.
It was, yeah. It's definitely like if you're just kind of chilling on the couch, you got like nothing going on. It's definitely like you can enjoy it just sitting down watching it.
I really love Knives Out.
Knives
I
Out was
hated
really good.
loving it as much as I did. I always promised myself that if I was in the same room with Ryan Johnson, I would give him a piece of my mind. And Alex and I actually saw Knives Out at a screening at the Directors Guild of America Theater in the city when it came out in 2019. And it had a Q&A afterwards with Daniel Craig, Ryan Johnson, Ron Johnson, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, all the actors were there. And here I was in the same room with Ryan Johnson. And they were taking questions from the audience. And I was like, I just can't. Like, this isn't the time. I can't humiliate Alex. If I was by myself, maybe, but I couldn't humiliate Alex. Hi, Brandon. Yeah. So
What the fuck was that movie?
Every morning, knowing that you ruined the most beloved sci-fi franchise on the planet. I would just sit back down.
No need to answer. I just wanted to tell you.
How did you go from just an absolute dog shit movie with zero plot to this? Because I'm just very surprised. It's a big arc. What happened between Looper and this movie? What went wrong?
Looper was not a good movie.
Actually, that's really interesting. Because you know what he did between Looper and The Last Jedi? He directed the best episode of television ever, Ozymandias from Breaking Bad. So unfortunately, he is pretty fucking good. He directed 3 episodes for Breaking Bad, and Ozymandias being like, it is a 10 out of 10 on.
I think I checked out of
Breaking Bad
at that point. Yeah,
it's pretty good. I watched it at the behest
of
Will, and then we watched Better Call Saul. That shit was so good.
Breaking Saul.
Better Call Breaking Saul.
Breaking Bad is about breaking Saul. Honestly.
6 seasons of Bob Odenkirk just getting waterboarded for 45 minutes an episode. Breaking Saul.
Where is
Loved
he?
it. It was
Who do you work
he didn't win any awards though.
Did you hear? Speaking of, Bob Odenkirk had like a heart attack in the middle of filming the last season of Better Call Saul, and like almost didn't come back from that.
Yeah.
So thankfully he did.
He recovered though.
He
Good
did.
for him.
Because Better Call Saul is like,
he recovered in time. He recovered in time just to give us the absolute shit sandwich that was Nobody.
Hey, that was filmed in my hometown.
I thought he had the
That's
heart
fine.
attack
Movie
after
fucking
Nobody.
sucked.
Maybe it was Nobody that drove him to the heart attack.
I mean, I almost had a
He
fucking
just
heart
rewatched like a screener and he was like, "What did I?
attack. What the fuck did I do?" He was in
so
his
fucked up.
post-cardiac.
I'm glad
arrest.
he's doing well.
Fuck. Oh yeah, for sure. I got nothing against him. He did a really shit movie. That's all. Everyone's been there except Tom Hanks. You know, like he can't relate, but everyone else has been there. You know, I get it.
Will's aunt was a
Dude,
line producer
imagine
on that
like
movie. I think I told you guys that. Yeah.
So you're telling me she had the power
to make it better? Yeah.
She could have stopped
you know,
it, and she
approach
didn't.
the producers and the writers and be like, "Hey, are you guys fucking serious?"
Be like, "Hey, this is you don't."
Well, she's credited as a co-producer, but from her mouth, she told us that she was a line producer. So I don't know. She talked about it a little bit,
Hey,
but
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, can you picture like Bob Odenkirk? He's with his agent. He's with the director, the producers. They're all in a meeting room. Like, all right, Bob, you know the John Wick series, Keanu Reeves? He's like, oh yeah, picture that, but
worse.
boring. Yeah, and worse.
I will say the only one shot in that movie that has any business existing was him putting a claymore on a riot shield and then running at a bad guy and blowing him up.
That was cool.
That was single-handedly the best death in any cinema I've ever seen in my life.
The whole movie's the bus scene where he beats up all the 5 thugs on the bus.
Yeah.
Like, that's that whole movie, because everybody wants to live that fantasy, right? Hey, leave her alone! And then you beat the shit out of everybody somehow.
And then Shang-Chi
like
came in a year
that's
later and just delivered a masterclass on a bus
Just
action scene.
dunked on the bus fight scene.
Oh, you want to fight on a bus?
Here we go.
Let's go.
There's one shot.
One guy's got a laser knife hand.
There's one shot in Nobody that, man, it always just throws me through a loop because Winnipeg's not a very big city. And it's got like one intersection that's got a bunch of I hesitate to call them high rises, but I'm assuming they fall in the category of high rises. But he's like walking down the street, and I know exactly at like what point where he's walking because I used to go to work past that, like one of those intersections all the time, and it's so distracting, just how quintessentially Winnipeg, like every single one of those outside shots is. I'm like, I can't, like I couldn't even like critically watch this movie because I was like, I've been there, I've walked past here. I've been to that restaurant. I've been here. I've been on that bus. I've seen this. It was so distracting. And I know other people from Winnipeg were like, yep, I could not focus on the movie because it was just so obvious like where they were filming. And it was in the same 2 blocks because it's not a very big downtown. But it was still interesting to see. It's still interesting to say like, oh, Bob Odenkirk has done this relatively big movie in downtown Winnipeg. And
yeah, kind of random.
Actually, Winnipeg's a lot bigger of a movie scene than you expect it to be. Like, there's always like random celebrities that are here. Like Woody Harrelson filmed this basketball movie. Like he's a coach for like a high school basketball team or something, and he did it.
White Man Can't Jump.
Was that called? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a Woody Harrelson basketball movie.
It's coming out soon. Like it's not out yet.
Oh, interesting. Woody Harrelson's the next host for SNL. I think February 23rd or something like that.
Oh hell yeah! It's called Champions. That's
Champions?
what it's called.
Is it Champions?
Yeah. And they filmed in the middle of what is like the worst part of Winnipeg, and often I would see on social media people just approaching him, where people regularly like get crimed on. And just meeting Woody Harrelson in the worst part of Winnipeg, and it's like, damn, good for you for just walking the streets, man. But oh my god, I'm watching this trailer now, and I recognize so many of these places. That's also going to be a distracting movie, is it not? Well, it's coming out soon.
He was also in Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell and Andre Benjamin. It's another Woody Harrelson basketball movie.
Was he really?
Damn.
Yeah, he was the other guy in that movie.
No, he was in that.
This guy loves basketball.
I mean, look at him. He screams like peak athleticism, you know?
Nobody's criming on him.
True.
I don't like that you're using that word as a verb, you know?
Jess did it first.
And
I blame Jess. Sounds
people
weird.
get crimed on.
Yeah, get crimed on.
Get crimed on, nerd.
Now give me all your shit.
Oh my God.
No, literally, just this is a robbery. Stick them up.
I know I'm laughing and it seems light, but no, give me your shit.
No, but literally.
But literally.
Rob at you.
Can you imagine if someone came up to you, I'm criming you? Like, damn.
I'm criming you.
Like,
Excuse me?
no thanks. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Both.
Dude, I was on the subway on Friday, and this guy walked on and started doing really fast karate right next to me, like.
You should have got up and
some people
shadowboxed
started
with
walking away.
You're like, hey, you need a sparring partner?
Oh my god! Bring it. Let me see what you got, dude.
You look at him, you're like,
Sweet
you're
moves.
not gonna believe this. You pull out pads out of your backpack, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Honestly, the karate wasn't bothering me so much as the open mouth coughing. That's the only reason I moved. He cleared like a good quarter of the train.
Yum.
People feared the karate. I feared the Rona.
Maybe that was his goal. When everyone moved, dude, he just like sit down and like stretch out.
Yeah, dude, it worked wonders. Honestly, nobody was trying to fuck with this guy. He was fast too. He was wily. I think he was on some speed or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like fentanyl slows you down. This guy was moving too fast, dude. He could have given Master Roshi a run for his money.
It's an opiate. It's definitely a downer.
He was making the mouth noises too.
You got to control your breathing when you're fucking, throwing them bombs.
He knew that clearly.
Yeah. Maybe he's not someone you got to fuck with.
I think he had some formal training.
Maybe he's
but
then
he would go
Bond.
And I was like, all right, we are out of here. I'm good.
That's my cue. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, karate I can handle.
That's why you ended up at the wrong train stop. That makes perfect sense coughing.
No, that's because I was listening to a podcast and reading an article at the same time. All of a sudden, I looked up. I was at the wrong station. I was just like, fuck.
You're stimming too much.
Alex, come back. Alex, can you come pick me up?
I am scared. Oh, that's so good.
Hey, are you busy? That was the best quote. I said, hey, are you busy?
She's like, yeah, extremely. Like, hey, can you come drive 40 minutes to pick me up?
It wasn't 40. It was 15.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. That's not bad.
40 minutes door to door.
I just assume going anywhere in New York takes over an hour.
It really does.
Yeah.
Anytime we talk about New York, there's just give me less reasons to like ever wanna not visit. I'll come be a tourist. I'll come do tourist stuff there, but like live there.
There's so much great stuff to tourists. There's so great shit to see, museums, food. You want to go out. You got all the best shit.
Jazz,
but
is a
day to
place
day,
to get
like
merch.
every single day, like commuting.
Nah.
Fuck this, man. I'm so over it. Karate guy. It's always something. Every stop, every train car, every day, it's always something. Dude, I got on the train. They were like, "Oh, by the way, there's a track fire on Grand Ave," and then the woman gets on the speaker on the train. She's like, "Friends, we've got delays." I'm like, "You've got to be fucking."
It's a fire sale of delays. You want them?
Fuck.
We got them.
I left so early for work, and I was like on time by 1 minute. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my
Through the grace of Subway Jesus.
Yo, Subway Jesus doesn't get enough prayers.
When he comes through, it's a good day. When like you get to the platform and the train just like rolls right up. Oh,
That's New Testament Subway Jesus, but Old Testament Subway Jesus.
He's hooking it up.
Not so much.
You got some good karma coming your way.
Damn.
God bless him.
Oh. This was fun.
I had
what
a
do
good
you think?
time.
You want to put a pin in it here?
Let's pin
maybe,
it. I gotta make Din before we get into our nerd shit and more of the
weeb shit.
The masterpiece is.
On Sundays we watch Full Metal Alchemist and
watch
then The Last of Us.
I'm so excited.
Yo,
for
if you haven't seen
episode.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, fucking watch it. Shit's fire. Jess, what are the chances we can turn you into a fucking weeb?
Like single digit percentage right there.
Really? How do you do with animated stuff?
I don't do bad with animated stuff. Like I think I just need to watch the right things first to show that it's good. Will's been wanting me to watch Death Note because apparently that's actually really good, like anime.
Death Note is really good because it's very much like an intellectual kind of anime.
Yeah.
Like it's not like fights and spirit bombs and
yeah.
Kamehameha. It's not none of that like bullshit. It's just like it's a lot of like
it.
Yeah, I think that's something that you could enjoy for sure.
And I've seen, like, I really liked Akira. That's quintessential anime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's classic.
And I also really like, this is one from my childhood too, to Spirited Away. So, like, Studio Ghibli stuff is stuff I've been into. I've watched a couple other things when I started dating Will. There was one that I really liked called Your Name. And I don't even know how to explain that one. But that one was really well done.
I think I've heard of it before.
Yeah, it's like two people who are, like, connected psychologically through sleep. I don't know. And they have to, like...
Yes, I've heard of
Yeah,
those.
it's actually really, really well done. Pretty emotional. So there's that. I actually, just because I do like... actually, kind of going back to The Last of Us a little bit, the voice actors... A lot of the voice actors, particularly Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson, they do Critical Role, so D&D, but they changed, so they're in their third campaign now for Critical Role, but they took their first campaign and they made it into a show on Amazon called The Legend of Vox Machina. I watched part of the first episode, mostly while I was eating food, and I was like, okay, I could buy into this. So I'm, like, not against animated stuff. It's just not something I normally go for. But if you guys are in the middle of watching Full Metal Alchemist at, like, a point that I can't start, the chances of me coming in and watching those
30
episodes
yeah,
unfortunately, I will not be there. But I'm rooting for you.
I'm really enjoying Full Metal Alchemist, but when it gets super anime-y and they go into, like, chibi form and, like, they start yelling at each other, that's when I'm like, ugh.
That's what I don't...
I feel like not my favorite.
It's
but
so
it
hard to avoid, like, when it comes to, like, anime. Like, that's just,
every
like...
series has it,
Yeah, like, that's just the trope of, like, anime. But, like... I feel like it's used sparingly enough where, like, it's not super, super prevalent. So, like, it's just, like, it's added as, like the big common one is, so, like, the main character, he's fairly short in stature. Like, he's like a teenager, he's like a kid, but, like, he's still, like, fairly short in stature. And, like, anytime, like, someone calls him, like, a pipsqueak, or, like, they call him, like, short, he's like, what are you calling short? And he kind of, like, you know, it's like him, like, raging out for a second, and he gets kind of, like, chibi, like, extra cartoony. But it's more of just, like, him overreacting to being called, like, little. So it's more for, like, comedic effect. But, like, yeah, I can see, like, that would, you know, pull you out, because it's overall, like, a very, like, dark anime. Like, it's
okay,
like the whole just the start of the story.
I've been enjoying it for sure.
Intense, yeah.
I think I would like more dramatic animes. Like, I'm thinking of things like, I know things like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I know those are meant to be more children's shows, but, like, those are things I like would not really be into. But things that have, like, a more serious tone to it, I think I could buy into. But for now, like, right now, it's not, like, my favorite thing. It does take a little bit of effort for me to get into it, but I'm sure I'll throw on, like, a Studio Ghibli at some point.
I feel like,
or put Death Note on.
I feel like you probably could. I feel like you probably could enjoy Full Metal Alchemist.
Probably.
But again, it's gonna get, like, Death Note doesn't really have any of that chibi stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Death Note would be a good jazz anime. Full Metal Alchemist is a great story, but it's definitely, like, an anime.
It's an anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but, like, it's one of those ones where it's like, anytime you look at, like, top 100 best animes, like, any list, like, any person you ask, Full Metal Alchemist is, like, always in everyone's, like, top 3 or top 5. Like, everyone agrees it's just, like, one of the best, like, ever.
Cool.
So it's like, you know, I don't know. I just feel like quality-wise, it probably won't get
well, the percentages
won't get much better.
aren't as low as I initially said, but I'm not joining for Full Metal Alchemist anytime soon.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Full
It's also
Metal
only, like,
Alchemist.
it's like, what, like 60 something episodes. Like, it's not like One Piece where it's 7,000 episodes.
Oh yeah, not touching One Piece with a 10-foot pole.
Same.
That's not for you. That's okay.
That's not for you.
That's all right. That's okay.
You don't want to watch a child who's got bubblegum arms be a pirate?
Nah.
It's a good story. It deals with some very dark themes. It's very
I'm
funny.
sure, but I don't want to watch
Self-aware
1,000
when it needs to be.
episodes. I ain't got time for that.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not. No one's making you. Jeez. Holds up the knife. We're gonna watch the first.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the first 12 episodes.
You can go home.
Pictures. and then you can leave the podcast. Real quick, Rob, do you want to talk nut milk for a second? Jazz, you mind if we talk nut milk?
Oh, absolutely. Nut it up.
What are your opinions on nut milk?
So friends, after last week's conversation, we did in fact go out, buy pistachios, and blend our own pistachios milk. I'll tell you what, I made mine just pistachios unsalted with water, and that just tasted like liquid pistachios, and it has been very filling. And then Rob was like, "Oh, you gotta sweeten it up. Put some maple syrup in there. Put a dash of vanilla extract." And I did that, and now it tastes like pistachios with some maple syrup in it. So a little
1 to
bit
10.
better.
Hit me with a 1 out of 10.
Honestly, I would put it at like a 6, like a 6 or a 7. It's just as fine as almond milk.
So you'd put it in your cereal or your coffee?
That's the thing. It's got a very distinguishable flavor. I also didn't sift out. I was gonna put it in a French press and press out all the debris.
Smart.
But I was
It's
like,
actually not a bad idea.
I'll put this glass down, and all the debris will float to the bottom. That's not at all what happened.
It all floats to the top.
So I'm
the exact opposite.
I'm
So you have
drinking
nut
it,
milk
and
and
then I'm
nut
having to chew
smoothie.
it. Yeah.
Yum.
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't a fan. All this me talking about pistachio milk, and I think a 6 out of 10 is a fair review.
6 out of 10. Yeah, 7.
The aftertaste, I'm not huge on. Here's the thing: I did honey roasted pistachios, so I don't know if that just like threw off my experience. But like the aftertaste is like a 2 out of 10. Not gonna lie, the nuts themselves, I snuck a couple for the chef before I blended them all up. Delish. Drinking it in water,
Yeah, probably not a move.
I feel like there's something wrong with my colon while I'm drinking. Like a doctor told me, like, you gotta blend every solid food. Like, I feel like this is a punishment, you know?
I will say,
drink your nuts.
being the odd one out here, not having the opportunity to taste this either of your delicacies, because it seems like you guys did 2 different things.
Ew, oh my god, it's so much worse when you call them delicacies. I'd rather you call it nut milk. Calling it delicacies makes it sound like something's wrong, you know?
There is. But I feel like you guys need to, next time if you're going to do this, buy the same brand and test it out.
You
guys are on
buy it
uneven
and
ground.
see.
And
That's true.
because like if you're saying like, if first off you blended it, homemade shit, like that's never good, especially your first time.
Never good. I will say the recipe that I saw did call for soaking them overnight, and I had exactly 40 minutes to make this nut milk and chill it before the podcast, so that didn't happen. So maybe that's where
literally what I did too.
maybe that's where I went wrong. You're supposed to soak them overnight, discard that water, and then throw the soaked nuts. You're soaking soppy nuts in a blender, and then add
I'll
water.
be completely honest. That probably would make like no difference.
Negligible difference.
Right?
I think you're right.
You're gonna have diminishing returns on the fucking whether you soak the nuts or not. The ingredients are still the same.
You might be right. I don't know.
Immature 8-year-olds are going wild right now with this vernacular going on.
Yeah,
Immature
it was
8-year-olds and everyone in our Discord.
I do want to buy some. I want to buy some pistachio milk and see if the mass-produced quality is better.
Really? All right.
Look, I'm a man of the people.
It's gonna be the same thing.
There's literally like maybe a couple people that want to know my opinion, so it's got to be done.
All right, man.
I think you should do it.
Let me know.
I will.
You got
I'll do
$8 per Noel in your pocket. You go for it.
Here, Jazz, you also buy some pistachio milk, and we'll
I don't
amend
even know if it's available here.
the show notes.
Pistachio milk.
Pistachio milk.
I don't even know if I can get it. I've never
Surely
seen
you
it.
can find it in Canada.
Skippable.
It's just green milk. It's Hulk milk. It's great.
Because like I go regularly to the nut milk area, but I'm getting oat milk because they're all lumped into the
Same, dude. I fucking love oat milk.
oat milk's so fucking good. I don't even know where I could find it, but if I do find it, I'll let you know and try it out.
Yeah.
Great. We'll update the show notes with your opinion.
I will.
If you can get
For
your hands
sure.
on some pistachio
Yeah, we'll
milk.
do an emergency broadcast.
Sounds good.
Jazz got the milk will be the title.
we'll co-opt the emergency broadcast signal on cell phones, and we'll make sure that everybody
Absolutely.
everybody
Jazz
in the
likes
province
nut
knows.
milk.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
We'll workshop.
bad when
We'll
you
workshop
say
that
it.
message, but I like
No,
your head.
verbatim. That.
We're gonna cut it out and post.
Hey, all right.
Jazz, thank you so much for being on the
Of
podcast
course.
today.
Thanks for having me.
This was
I
fun.
had fun. There's nobody I want to talk about movies and TV with more than Jazz,
Oh, love to hear it.
and it's largely because of how polar opposite our.
This was a civilized
our opinions
conversation, considering where a lot of our conversations have gone, particularly about Marvel. So I think we did pretty good today.
That's
yeah,
very
it's
true.
interesting. A lot of the shit you say, I couldn't agree less with, but I respect you as a person. So,
At least
and you usually you've got like good, intelligent insight into stuff, which I appreciate.
It just
But
happens
then
to be
you say
wrong.
you're
That's all.
like,
okay.
yeah.
Do you-
Falcon
y'all wanna
Winter
start
Soldier's my
the-
favorite? And I was
The
like,
Last
Jesus
Jedi, which 40-minute debate right now or later.
right now. It's
Christ. Yeah, we're doing double episodes.
yeah. Tune in next week where we
Bonus
it'll be an
episode.
entire episode about
Watch
The
our
Witch.
friendship
Yeah.
dissolve
Live.
live. on.
Live and pre-recorded. You're gonna listen to us eviscerate our friendships.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a good time.
Well, yeah.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for having me on. I really appreciate it, and yeah,
Absolutely. Maybe we'll do this again sometime
Absolutely.
if you're interested.
of course.
You don't have to answer right now. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, awesome.
Pencil
It's in
me
the books.
in.
Done. Pencil me in. It's done.
Make sure it's a pencil so I can back out.
Maybe next big.
So you can erase
movie
it if you
for
decide to
me.
change your mind.
I'll be back.
So
and
yeah,
maybe-
I know we talked about 1917. So we did 1917 for movie night this week. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Watch
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
And then this week, we're doing. What do we decide on this week? We're doing
All Quiet on
Quiet.
the Western Front. Only feel good movies for the next month.
Mm.
Yeah, only
That's what I'm
uplifting
probably gonna
World
watch
War II
soon.
movies.
Anyway, so we can talk about that one later.
Yeah, I'm
Alright,
really
so-
excited about that. We're doing World War movie month.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you knew Jazz.
I
but
did
we're
see
doing-
that.
Movies.
I did see.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good time. I'm really excited for All's Quiet on the Western Front. So we will have our opinions
We'll see.
next week after we watch it. It's gonna
Yes,
be a good time.
we will. And Rob, you got to play Dead Space Remake so we could talk about
Oh,
that. 'cause
I know.
It's honestly game of the year potential.
I really want to.
I beat it this morning and immediately started a New Game Plus playthrough. Like I'm so
I didn't even
excited to run
realize-
through it again.
I found out yesterday. I was talking to Jazz. I didn't even realize they had New Game Plus in it.
Yeah, and the impossible one life run, which is an achievement.
One
Which
life.
I'm gonna go for. Well, you could scum save it, so as soon as you die, you just close out the game, and it'll just load you into your last checkpoint. But yeah, it's one life. When you die, that's it. You got to restart from the very beginning.
Okay.
I'm
So,
almost
that's
done my
pretty
New
fucking
Game
sweet.
Plus. And I'm going after that plasma cutter run. I've only been using my
Plasma cutter only. Nice.
I'm not doing Impossible. I'm
Dude,
not
Plasma Cutter's
a
the
gamer
best gun in that game.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, they really game of the year potential for sure.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
they have the finger gun in the new one in the remake?
The hand cannon, yeah, the big foam
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah,
if
you
you
go
beat
pew, pew,
impossible
Pew,
mode.
pew. Yeah. That's good. That's good to know.
Yep,
Good times.
they fucking did it. All right, friends. I'm throwing some finger guns at you. You can't see them right now. Pew 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 pew. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week shooting some shit. Let's find something nice, nice and salty that we could just rip on. Let's get salty next week. I feel like we've been kind of neutral. We've been given daily doses of sodium. Let's overdo it. Let's give the audience some heart attack next week.
Let's raise some blood pressures.
I would love that.
Let's do it.
All right, friends,
Probably
grab a
listen.
bottle of Lipitor. We're gonna be raising blood pressure.
Just make sure to ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
Nah, it's probably fine.
I'm sure it's fine. You can trust us.
9 out of 10 dentists would agree.
Yeah.
This is
Lipitor
probably gonna be fine
fine.
for blood pressure.
Yeah, it's okay.
Next week's episode: pharmaceutical advice. Which
Next
pills
week's
should
episode-
you be taking?
The gang gets sued by Big Pharma.
Come at me, Purdue.
Fuck you, Purdue. Your chicken sucks, and so do your drugs. Talk about a multifaceted company.